minus one.
All ladies over 50.
We are live.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to take this time to welcome everyone to the Corporation of Township Bone Tur Valley Committee meeting agenda. Any additions to the agenda? No. Pecuniary interest. Anyone having any type of pecuniary interest in this meeting? None. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Moved by Brent. Second, all in favor?
Did we approve the agenda after there were no items added? Sorry if we did, I missed it.
We did not.
Okay.
I was just gonna remind Mark before we invite Laurel on.
Delegation?
Hang on, I'll move the confirmation of the agenda.
Okay.
Need a second?
No, not a committee, but thank you, John. But are you in favor?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now.
Delegation.
Did you bring that one? Did you bring some artwork?
Yeah.
She brought lots of artwork.
Oh.
Bring them in.
Okay.
Oh, Kayla's here as your trusty helper.
Yeah. You want to see a card about it?
I know, congratulations.
So I just want to introduce quickly Laurel Cook, who you've met before. So as part of the museum fund project, Stuart and I are co-directors and signees for the fund that we won. I can't say what it was, but part of it was to secure Laurel and other artisans and create this historical project of commemorating historical locations within Bonnechere Valley. So the initial contract was for 12 paintings. I think it's up to 16 now, Laura, that she donated some.
I'm going to be donating 4.
Oh, you're doing them all.
Yeah,
So you
donated
guys
4
are
of them.
down too.
So these are all of them.
Show you to you.
So one of the things, now that we're completing this, the fund covered expertise, which is the painting of it. As I've mentioned, we need to fundraise or seek township support maybe for the actual posts in making the signposts.
I wish Jason was here. I don't think that's a problem.
I think we can fundraise for it, but it's, we just need to price it out
But
right
you're
now.
not, you're talking in-house labor, number one,
Yeah.
right? We're not farming it out.
No, I prefer, if we do farm it out, it's really keeping the cost down, right, obviously, so, and we need to do also for these particular artwork is French translation as well, as English and French on
Oh,
the
yeah.
signage, and also to acknowledge the government agency.
Yes.
They're where we received this from. So Laurel's here as well, or sorry, Kayla's here as
Yeah.
well, as the new president of the museum.
Yes,
Kayla, so
congratulations, Kayla.
very much involved with this project and myself, and yeah, so here we
You
go.
should take a picture of
Alright.
that and send it to your brother.
12 was what I could basically fit in the budget and they're all done in CPO. As you know, Genevieve Townsend is doing an illustrated map, 8x8, which are miniatures of these she's painted. So it's basically a heritage tour, a walking portion in Eganville and a driving portion in Bonnechere Valley. So,
That is so amazing.
okay, so the Eganville Creamery, from an older picture.
Mhm.
And they wanted me to add the Eganville Creamery truck, which I did find.
These were selected by the museum board, so that's why that we have the paintings that we do.
Well, I actually have one of those milk jugs.
Oh, cool.
It actually says Eganville Creamery. Yeah.
I was able to look at it in enough detail to find.
The umbrella stand, step off, Stuart.
Okay, it was rather, most of these were incomplete pictures and Genevieve and I did a lot of extra research and digging and.
Poor
working on
quality
the
too,
ads.
right?
Yeah, poor quality. Oh, my goodness. So the Eganville Creamery Truck, phone number 88, in case you wanted. There's I put in little Easter eggs here. So if we ever want kids at the high school or even tourists to go on a little walking tour and find the Easter eggs in each one, I put one there for everybody.
Scavenger hunt.
I love it.
Yeah.
The truck, I did a lot of research, 1940 Chevy truck. And so it's standard, so I could get all the details. So you'll notice I added a ditty. Trucks with the Chevy symbol on them.
Well, it's impressive too that you did, Laurel. And I bet a lot of people wouldn't have even picked that up, that the front tires and the rear tires.
Yes.
Would have been
Yes, I
distinctively different.
exactly. I pulled a picture off of the net of the 1940 Chevy truck.
Yeah.
And there we go. Let's use
Okay.
ready for that.
Oh, And he's
So-
handing them off, she's handing them off to her down like
So,
Stuart
the
Hayden.
CP rail station. CP rail station.
God.
Asked me to put the vets returning from the war. I did find a picture. Now, my dad used to work for the CN as, and Road Gang 101, and I know from my CN history that every CN train station has a station number. So I was kind of curious as to whether all the CP rail stations did, and they did. And after much researching, I found out 3650,
Isn't that
right there, is the number of the Eganville train station.
Wonderful.
So cool.
We need to figure out where to put all of these signs.
Oh,
right?
I have an idea.
I know, but that's
Whatever.
another meeting to discuss, where location. I'm guessing the creamery, right, you probably wanted down in your building.
Well,
but-
I was thinking of doing a triplex in that area because there's more in that, like.
Okay, that's the old hotel.
Yes, you bet. The old.
There's a little, there's an Easter egg in this one too.
There's a little Easter egg.
It's a ghost.
Oh my gosh, what is
A
that?
ghost.
ghost up in the corner. All right. Yep.
I would have been very, very, very young when that burned down.
The Ottawa House. It was a
Where
very,
was that?
that was on the corner across from Fresh Mart. So you got the Creamery, there's the Fresh Mart, or I mean, the Ottawa House, which was on the stopping place along the bottom.
About
of the
where the
road.
choir factor is now.
No, it's the empty parking lot. That's where it was.
Okay.
Wow.
It's Fresh Mart. Now I'm doing, pardon? But I will be painting and Genevieve's adding on the map. The Fresh Mart when it was the Mills block, beautiful building. I will be donating that one.
John and I are both doing the same thing. We're trying to find the Easter egg.
That's
Okay,
obvious in this one.
so-
Black dog.
Okay.
It was a surprise.
So here's another story about this.
Bucky. Sorry.
They were stopping all along the Bonnie Share Road, because they could only travel maybe 5 or 6 miles a day. And it provided food and drink for them, as well as some entertainment.
Yes.
In
Something entertainment.
1857, there were 5 houses of public entertainment.
No.
Yes. There were more, but that was 1857. So I did paint some leaves up here, but they're nicely well.
They've got great hats.
I asked for something a little
Oh,
different.
wow.
So
You got,
this is the
wait till fifth shoot and Fresh Mart, see that.
there, this one here.
And McDougal Insurance.
Pardon? It's, so I did, this is actually the old hardware store, a lot of detail and I drove me nuts. But we do have a little raven up in there. I think it's.
Love it.
I love that.
Allison, John Collins, Allison, wife Allison,
Yep.
grew up in that upper floor.
Okay. This is the old, this store.
Let's
built in
Bakery
1944.
project.
Pardon?
I say this bakery.
Yes, and so this truck actually wasn't here. They used to be parked behind the CP rail station, and I did find some pictures of them when looking for more pictures of the CP rail station. All right, so I actually did that. This is the right model, this is the right sign, and for the kids we have.
Can you guys see these paintings?
Laurel,
Brilliant.
these are phenomenal.
So this is the difference between just putting them on photographs on paper and having a local take some interest and do some stuff.
Stuart, maybe just give the, yeah, a
Okay.
quick look at each one, yeah.
The William.
Yes,
the William
entertain our
George-
guests.
The William George Hotel or store. I'll show you later where the old town hall was. This was right beside. William George was. He was deeply connected in almost every business there was in Eganville. This is his store. And we have, see it, John? The-
What is it though? I see it.
It's a little cat.
Oh, it's a cat.
They would have cats in the stores for micing.
Or not.
Oh, boy now.
Yeah.
Why not? Yes.
Hmm.
Actually, I didn't paint the true geodesic domes, icosahedrons, that's what they were.
You know where that would be amazing? You know, when you're driving into Point Out, there's a Point Out sign and the
Yeah,
little
just
garden.
Just
Yeah.
put it right under there, it would be
Yeah.
nice. So.
And then you don't even need posts. There are posts there.
Most of the pictures also just show the white domes, but having worked on radio stations for some time, I know it's actually a geodesic dome. They were, Buckminster when he.
Fuller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, he was involved in the first ones in doing them in 1952 when they started putting up the pine tree line, and they are actually icosahedrons. And you see something for the kids to find.
Good dear. Just want to note, remember, we talked about this as outdoor paint, so it doesn't need any
Yes.
covering wherever we put it, it's just as is.
Well, and the material that it's on
very
is
nice.
very interesting. Yeah.
It's not gonna rot. So this is the old town hall. Everybody know where that one is located?
Yes, and the police station underneath it. One time.
So, and that's actually was the fire. They supposedly hung the fire hydrant hoses, fire hoses down there to drain and dry out of the tower. That's what I was told. So as you can see, most of them I painted as individual buildings. The old town hall was actually a community center as well. They had dances, they had all kinds of community events there. So I painted it as a community with other buildings around it. Some people recognize them here. And I put in the little, this is actually where the post office would have been, the old Watershed Museum.
My cousin died on those front steps.
Really?
All over back, broke his neck.
Okay, that,
That's a bad story.
that story went somewhere I was not
Yes.
expecting.
Still two more over.
I didn't see any Easter eggs in that one.
Oh.
We should notice.
That was the little museum that went.
Oh, okay.
to the Post office, see if you can find the old post office. So this one is the woolen mill, the woolen mill. Grist mill is the one at Cray, and there was actually another grist mill, kitty corner, just a little bit down from where Conway was. But this is
That
the,
was the one then.
this is the woolen mill, this is where basically the generating station would be. Okay, so it is. I think one of the questions is how many windows are there? I should each one of them, how many windows that's Jennifer and I. But I put a little buckle head down.
Oh, it was behind the owl. I couldn't
Yeah,
see
it's
it.
a little buckle head down. This is the old Lime Hill. And since I was into Chevy trucks, I added one.
So good.
These are
And
really something.
then there's one more.
Talk about points of interest for our
The points of
community.
interest, and I wanted to make them interesting.
Yeah, they are.
And this is the last one, I saw it in the newspaper, this is the red store, Mason's Red Store. At the time, the picture I had of that Genevieve and I went with John P. Lacey. So this one here was in the picture in the photo, I couldn't make it out. And I thought if I recognized that before. I did find it on the net. It's a lot of tea groceries, they used to send them out to small grocery stores to put in their windows.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was. It was just a brain. That's exactly what it was. A lot of tea groceries. Well, that is very cool. So
Well done. Excellent.
we're gonna be going, working, I'm gonna be working with the museum and looking forward and moving forward. You want to go ahead? Yeah. Finishing the heritage tour, doing some more, getting them mounted, do kinds of stuff like that. There's a couple places that we probably should add. I get above the floor, but we have to identify those. You'll notice I didn't put anything yet in the Indigenous history. I would like us phase 3 to do a separate one, rather than include it as a afterthought. I wanted to include a separate type of mural or whatever, we'll figure out something.
And you have someone to work with, another Indigenous artist, right?
First of all, I have to get that. I did run it by at one time Wendy Jocko, the chief at the time.
Yeah.
What would be really cool, really different, would be a mosaic mural. You know how the little mosaics are
Yeah.
individual paintings, but all put together, they make into one large one,
Right.
one large picture.
I think the band council does need to be involved.
Oh,
in
yes.
Anything.
Yeah.
Indigenous.
I've been talking to her about something else and it popped in my head and fell out of my mouth. She thought it was a great idea. I said, in the future, when we get around to it, let's sit and talk about it. So,
Well, I'm sure Chief Sarrazin and his band council would be happy to sit down with you.
oh yeah,
As far as placement, it wouldn't be my intention to micromanage this project. I think if we can get Laurel and her trusty sidekicks together with maybe Jason and Kevin and figure out places to put them and what we need, like post-wise, the hangers for them. Yes, Stuart.
I'm gonna get my son to make up the boats for them.
Oh, you are,
Because,
okay.
He works down at Dolly and sales. That's
Oh.
the steel plant down there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get him to do up a couple of samples so that we can samples paper
Okay.
and then do up the boats accordingly.
Perfect. So what does council think? Do we want to get, I mean, Tracy's on the museum board. Kayla's now the president, Stuart's also involved, Laurel's there. Do we want to get involved or are we happy just to find them as we drive around our township?
I think I just want to add, sorry, jumping in here, is that Laurel's talking about different phases and Annette, we can probably like just glean from you like different grants and things available that we could go after to finish this project. Or not finish, to support it. I don't know if it'll ever be finished. You know, so I see personally that this township issue, that's my stance on it, but, or supporting.
No,
you
no,
know.
no, oh, I'm sorry, absolutely, that's why I said
Okay.
include Jason and Kevin.
Yeah, yeah,
in it.
yeah.
I just don't think, unless council has some really strong views about where some of them should
Yeah,
go.
all right.
I think that we can leave it to the creatives.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I
If,
misunderstood.
if you agree, if you don't, I mean, I agree with Laurel, I'm sure Chad and Brent would love to have the creamery
We
one.
need to contact all of the.
Yeah, and the Floyd Mill one is a no-brainer, because we own that
Yeah,
sign,
Yes.
yeah.
right? You could go up and put it up today. But I think in terms of placement, I would leave that to your
Yeah, yeah.
discretion.
We need to contact the landowners, business owners, get approval, that kind of
And
stuff.
you're right, you know, the museum has taken this on, Laurel's being paid by that grant.
Yeah.
The township does need to have some skin in the game.
Well, there's lots, as you know, there's many artists in this community who donate their time in creating murals,
Absolutely.
and you know, it's about time they get paid, right? So if we can identify more funding opportunities,
Yeah,
that's the way to go.
absolutely. Yes,
I wanted to thought with that signage. With those. Thought that what we could do is put a socket into the ground, and then this way we can remove the books every fall. And then they're not sitting out all winter long. getting
Oh,
weather.
She doesn't need to do that though, because of
No.
the,
Maybe mine stuck it in next to the rock. By our gate, it got covered with snow and more snow, and all melted. It looks like I painted it yesterday.
Was the idea that we're gonna get it by snow plows, they're gonna get it by
well, I wouldn't put them that low.
Yeah, we're gonna place them far enough off that they're not gonna get dinged. by
I'll get on
clouds
the
or
scene.
anything like that. We're not gonna put them in places that are.
Thank you.
Changing the subject, I want to tell you about my self-imposed project that I'm going to undertake, and then maybe I'll be looking for some expertise. With all these country small churches, they didn't even the ones here,
Oh,
before they tear down, I would like to take at least 2 pictures, the exterior picture and maybe one interior picture of all the churches. I mean, there's 2 of them already knocked down. And start with the rural ones and then come to the ones in town.
I had this idea, originally. I did the one of all the spires that are existing.
Yeah.
A sunset with all the spires, but I really like to do a collage of all the historical churches.
That'd be
A big one, you know,
But I
all
would-
of them. I mean,
So
it would be
I would
great.
like 2 pictures in, one inside, one outside, at least for every church, and kept at the museum, that 20 years from now, somebody comes into town and you can say, yep, here's the picture.
so I think what we kind of agreed on is that Sarah, our new community development officer, is also a photographer. And I think that she would be the best person to send out to take
Oh,
those
yeah.
photos. And then if we decide to do something like this with them, then that's a
So we have
future
it.
grant opportunity. And I will say, Merv, to your point, I think there were probably at minimum 100 emails that went back and forth about including the churches.
I think it was
Oh,
more
okay.
emails than that.
You think more than
Being-
that?
Yeah, you're being,
Okay, I'm being
Generous, yeah,
generous,
you're being
okay,
generous.
because, you know, an email would go out and then 15 people would respond with their idea about the churches, and because we have so many, and I thought that one of the ones that we're all should have done in this phase
Yeah.
was St. Anne's because of the pilgrimage.
the idea
Well, St.
was,
Anne's- St. Anne's will never perish because of the pilgrimage, because of the,
could burn
From your
down.
lips to God's ears, Merv.
There was a lot of belief that the old battles in Eganville between the
Yes.
Catholics and the Protestants would come to light if we focused on any churches.
That's right.
Oh,
So
I don't
maybe
think so. I think
200
those
emails
days-
about churches.
I think those days are pretty much gone.
We all,
That's
We thought, yeah, we thought so too.
we thought so, but there's not.
There's still a lot of Irish.
And so we did include, Genevieve did include in the overall map, illustrated map. St. Anne's is there
Okay,
as part of the Bonshire Valley.
just because it is very different
Yes,
from the other churches, just because of the pilgrimage.
that's why it was
But-
included. that way.
Because of the
Yeah.
shrine of St. Anne,
Yes,
that's why it's not
exactly,
gonna be
that's why I
shut
said-
down.
I would,
mean-
but I would welcome like a future, like you're talking about like your phases as well. So like obviously like you have your phase 1, your phase 2, phase 3. I'd be curious just on eventually when the museum and everyone, like your strategic plan for that specific project. Like I'd be curious of it. And the reason I say that is because it just allows us on our end be like, yeah, you know what? we gotta install 5 to 10 signs this
Oh,
year.
yes.
And you can allot staff time, because everything has staff time to it, and that's all I'm saying, it's not,
Yes.
but I think is if we throw in 100 signs, obviously that's a huge amount.
The challenge with this particular project was the timeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the timeline was approval for the grant late
It's
December.
about 6 weeks,
It was like
Yeah.
January.
But
to
by
get
the time
the plan, the
everything,
application, everything.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm aware of that,
And
but
it
it's
had to be
the,
spent by
it's
March
the, it's
31st.
the next phases, right?
Yeah.
And placements of it, and then if we
Right,
have
and
no
I've
problem.
already
yeah.
drawn up a 6-phase plan that I
Yeah.
wish to discuss. It is not my plan, it's going to be basically the museum board's
Yeah.
plan.
yeah,
And I would like to have that presented probably by the fall. I understand planning in the future. I used to run the North Warning system.
Yeah.
Yes, if you know what
Former
about
engineer
planning, yes. To replace an oil tank, you buy it the first, because you don't get your money from the government till the 31st,
Mhm.
the first of April. 1 year to buy it, because there's only 8 weeks of window that you have for time. The next year, you get it on, or the year after, because there's a barge, an East Coast barge and a West Coast barge. They go in alternate years. So you might get it on the barge this year or the next year. Then you have the next year to replace the tank. And then the year after that, or the year after that is to bring the old tank down. So normally I would work on a 5 to 10 year plan at minimum. That's my
Kevin,
background.
you thought your parts were bad.
Branch of
Oh, yeah.
engineers.
Approximate comprehensive plan. Oh
But
my
no,
goodness.
no,
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, I'm used to planning.
Yeah,
I would
and
do
we'll-
that.
and it's just so then we can see how the phases develop,
yeah.
especially like. If we're gonna support something, I'd like to be like, yeah, 100%, I have no problem supporting a 4-year, 3-year plan. So I just have to know
Jason's here now.
what the span of it's gonna be. and stuff,
Oh,
so.
yes.
Then
So
maybe-
I've done a 6, of course,
We're,
like I say,
we're
it's my
actually running
ideas.
behind now anyway, so maybe
Just
we
a quick
get,
one, what is your timeline, you think, for these churches? Because St. John's in Augsburg is gonna be shut down this fall, I won't be tore down.
Okay, no,
Shut down.
That would be.
Sarah.
something-
Maria,
Sarah's gonna take
I
the
think
photos.
we agreed
Yeah.
as a council that we were going to ask Sarah to do those photos.
Okay, and there's one church that has already tore down that I think I can get some pictures of.
If we decide after the photos, I think we have to make a decision, and it depending on funding,
Yeah.
we could do all of the churches. I mean, we can't erase our past, we can't erase
Yeah.
history.
No,
I think
no,
it's
no,
important to acknowledge it, right?
But I,
Just add it on a road tour, we'll take a picture with our iPhone and there you go.
no, Brent,
Like, it's not rocket science.
oh, millennials.
Everything's 30 minutes away, we drive and take a picture.
I'd like a picture of the inside as well.
Yes, but if somebody has to reproduce that in a larger version, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Right, that was what we agreed to, and apparently Jason is here.
He just stepped back
Oh,
out
he just went
again.
out, okay. We
Sure,
will
come
work,
back
we
in.
will get our amazing staff to organize between you guys. And you can figure out where I think you know where some of them are going without even input.
Yeah.
But the other ones, I think, use your discretion, no matter where they go, guys, they're going to be a showstopper. They're going to be something that people talk about. Our residents, our tourists, they are going to draw people to look at our history. So Laurel, thank you.
The purpose of the fund was a tourism support.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Right.
Name it.
And
Tourism
heritage, and
support.
don't say it.
And it's all primarily about supporting tourism post-COVID,
Right. And our heritage.
yes.
no,
Yes.
the project actually reminds me of the CDG years ago, they talked about like the passport to entry community, like Temiskaming. That's what they have in their tourism strategy, so it's something that eventually aligns with that, right?
Yes.
So it makes sense, so no, I'd be open to, in the fall, going over the,
Yeah.
like the phase and just keep council informed, that's all I want.
We'll see you when the leaves turn.
Yes, and also I did put a little bit, I know you're youth, we always have to consider our youth.
Yes.
And that they learn our heritage as well,
Yeah.
and just to like.
We're losing that institutional memory.
Well, we've talked about engaging youth for some of the paintings in the town, right?
Some of
So,
the projects we'd like to discuss with the Eganville area.
yeah, so getting, even if they can just paint one color, just giving them opportunities
Apparently,
to
they're really
engage.
good at that at Centennial Park.
I heard that.
Just give them a bucket of driveway sealant, send off the Legion Field.
Yeah, no way.
Perfect,
Thank you, Laurel.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll.
Very much.
Yeah.
okay, Kevin.
We've had quite a couple of meetings.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah,
So I'll just start out with the rink, the arena, just everything, maintenance, everything is going on, this weekend, or June the 3rd, we have, we have, 32 tables at this time. So,
I thought this was going in the parking lot.
though that's a different, event.
That's the senior center.
Oh, they're not, I thought she wanted both, inside and outside. She only wants inside.
That's correct.
Good enough?
How many more spots are available for the expo though? Like with the 32 is a good amount.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, with that, we could do another, say 50, just have to tighten up the space. They want about 4 feet between each table.
No,
I
I
get
get
more, well, I just have to tighten. That's. So we got lots of space, lots of space.
How many people does this event attract, the expo? Anybody
We've never
consider
done it before.
historical? Oh, okay, it's not historical.
It's It's talked about 3 years ago, I think.
She started out and then things just kind of
we had a
didn't get the
pandemic.
response, didn't get the response, so. We'll know after the 3rd, what the numbers are, at least. See what we can. Just village, all the bathrooms are opened, my grass cutting, has begun. Centennial Park.
I don't even want to see them.
Anyways, Emma and Sam are over there right now with the pressure washer and trying to clean it up best we can. It's
You know what's most upsetting? Is the Paula Beck bench. That is disgraceful.
What happened
what?
there?
it
Was painted?
yeah, and it got looked after right away, so it's good, it's good.
It's,
Do we have a camera post on this?
We not on the bench, but we do have a camera
That
pointing
could
towards
capture it?
the gazebo. Their bodies
Okay, can't make it in.
can't make it out, unless you have perfect identification. Talking to the OVP, like you have name and a date, like good view.
Kevin, have you looked into Ring cameras?
No, I'm not.
Because with, on my garage and on my house, this is like a PSA, don't drive in the mayor's laneway. I could identify a mole on your cheek if you drove in. Like they're that detailed, they're that clear. You probably saw the video of the bear
Yeah.
that came in, okay. So you can rewind, you can go back to when there was motion.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Like I can specifically go back and go, oh, there was motion at 11:30.
Yeah.
How often do you do a lighting walk in Centennial? Like exterior lighting, see like where our actual lights are actually well directed, right? Because like if the higher the luminosity, like.
Yeah.
You're gonna have more coverage. I'm not a big cameras guy in the sense that like, we're gonna end up recording playgrounds, everything, like.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, a criminal's gonna act like a criminal, but we gotta change behavior prior.
And the crazy part of this work was done, that was done broad daylight.
Are you serious?
Yeah, serious.
You gay.
So.
Okay,
that was-
so number one, we need signage that says you are under video surveillance.
Lots of
That's number
signage.
one. What?
Lots of signage.
Yeah, there's a park in Marmora where about every 10 feet, there is a sign on the post that says, smile, you're on camera.
Can we also make a sign that talks about the penalty for being caught? Maybe,
That wouldn't be our penalty, that would be the OPP.
it would be, but it's
Kevin,
no
you
harm
would-
in fear, giving fear, right?
Yeah, but you can't put out something that's.
So you would have you would have 3
Yeah,
main
fine.
points of entry. You'd have from your both ends of your John Street side and then from your Centennial side.
The one at Stand isn't operating right now.
Yeah.
But
But the thing is like, and the reason I say light check is in the sense that like, so like, you just have your $100 solar that as soon as they see contact at night, they'll bright it up. And that's all I would look at.
Oh, you're talking motion
motion
detectors.
lighting work.
Well, no, just because it's cheap, easy, and might deter, and it only costs a couple $100, then kind of look at it, and that's why I said, like, if you do an evening walk test. Then you'd actually know, and maybe it'll deter, a lot of time, like when you get that light that turns on, it'll deter someone, because people that are in the houses or around will look at it and be like, oh, what's going on in Centennial? Because we always have stagnant lighting there, is all I'm saying.
Well, and
No.
the Ring cameras all have lights on them. So
Oh.
when you drive in my laneway at night,
What is
my,
the cost for that? Sorry, to interrupt. The cost for that kind of tech?
I think it was $300 and it's $100 a year.
Is that something maybe we need or table for the future?
Well, I think we should table it, but I think that Brent's idea, that along with
Yeah.
signage could
Yeah.
certainly help. But if Kevin's saying this happened in broad daylight, the lights aren't gonna help. This
No,
is
but
just,
Those initiatives,
This
will-
is
those are
great,
steps
but-
to making it better, at least.
yeah. So I like both ideas and I think it's minimal cost.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good starting point anyway, and then I would look into the Ring, or I'm using Ring as like Kleenex, right? There are lots of different ones. You've got Google, there are tons of
Yeah.
different companies that are doing them now.
Yeah, you just end, but the thing is like you just end up having surveillance everywhere. Like, where is it gonna stop? Like, we have people climbing all ends of the township, like, and that's all I'm saying is that.
I don't see any harm in it, though. Yeah.
I
Gotta do
don't know, I think there's other use for taxpayers' money.
But this,
And-
it's only $300 and some dollars. That's not a whole lot, right?
No, but the other thing
Well,
is you're
yeah.
talking about taxpayers' money, but how long did it take you
Time to
guys to
fix.
scrub all the graffiti off? And some of it's really offensive. And which means that
But if it's-
time is of the
Yeah.
essence. So if it happens on a Sunday afternoon and you're alerted to it,
That's
it's got-
overtime, right?
it's gotta get done.
Is that overtime dollars as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, yeah, it very well could be, but you'd have to look at the severity of it all. Like if it's offensive, then absolutely you gotta deal with it, but like if it's just.
Well, the one that said I'm gay, that's pretty offensive.
No, not,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, no, but,
Yeah. Aren't they all offensive pretty much?
No, but there was one years ago that happened on Thanksgiving weekend. And it was so offensive and written in huge letters along the wall. And that took staff a long time to scrub. First of all, we went and bought tarps and tarped it until we could get people out there. Like it, yeah. There's just no reason for it.
yeah, and that's right, there's no.
Well,
reason for it.
because a vandal's gonna vandal something anyways, no different than when someone drove up in the Legion Field and did donuts up in the splash pad, right? We fixed it, adapted and. we
Well,
have it-
same with Rotary Beach.
Rotary
That's
Beach,
all
like,
we
that,
saw
like,
there.
and that's what I'm saying, is like, we're gonna eventually have cameras
Yeah.
everywhere. I'm not saying it's a good deed to have vandals, I just don't think that you need to have surveillance 24/7 everywhere.
It's not everywhere, it's just here so far, right? That we're talking about.
So then,
right?
yeah.
Those will vary, yeah.
That seems, is that the biggest, is that where we have the most,
Right now it is, the
Right.
Rotary Beach,
We had,
the,
we had a concrete urn dumped into our septic treatment system, and that could have been $1 million, thing.
Catastrophic.
and the thing
Yeah.
about Centennial though, it's right by the river, like from a camera perspective, I think it would be very handy for safety as well.
Well, in considering we already have a camera there, we just need a better camera.
Yeah.
Because if what we're using is a trail cam, you wouldn't be able to tell what Stewart looked like from here,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
With the
He
ring,
could be a deer for all we know,
you don't know,
or a bear,
a rabbit,
yeah.
you don't know. So I'm just saying technology's come a long way. I know trail cams are cheap,
Mhm.
but they're a pain in the butt when you have to go back and rewatch
yeah.
all the footage.
Yeah.
No,
There are cameras out there now that are, people like, they go
You're not-
right online.
You're not allowed to speak, Stuart, sorry. Sorry,
so I think you don't want to set up CCTV cameras, but you want to set up cameras sufficient to catch and convict one perpetrator, and I think things would end on my property, which is within the town boundaries. I had a lot of people dumping and doing things. I set up trail cams. We just kept the chips and I download pictures off the chips. And I caught a thief who had stolen $6,000 worth of things from BMR Miller and was helping him over my fence. And another guy with long guns, who shouldn't be in the property at all. I just had the OPP deliver discuss with the individuals, and nothing happened after that. I think it's likely that the same group of young people would know each other who are involved in this stuff. And all we need to do is catch one and identify them, and it would probably go a long way to help them. So I trail cams do have a bonus. And I was thinking of that when we had the vandalism at the reconciliation garden. There was a tree there with a trail cam, and once every 2 weeks you go and you take out the chip and you scan through it, and anything that's identifiable you take out. I think they have a role, and they're not as expensive as a subscription service. And you could even put trail cams or false trail cams up as part of your deterrence package with signage saying you're under video surveillance. So I think from a point of view, it is disgusting to have people defacing a memorial bench, but it's just as disastrous for people to damage our infrastructure, which is going to cost the taxpayer an arm and a leg to fix. So I think lighting, signage, and trail cams might have a role here to play.
But not trail cams.
That's how I caught 2 thieves.
They're terrible, though. That's what we've got there now.
I don't know if you need both, but if you need trail and the one you're talking about, whichever is the better.
Okay.
one. I'm just suggesting money wise.
Anyway,
I used to have cameras that activated a siren or one, but I don't think you want to do that in the park.
I would just look at
I have a
your
stop.
points of
We have a
entry
siren.
and then go
Use siren, yeah.
from there, right? Like it could be simple as switching a couple business owners. Cameras is a certain degree that gives you access to an alleyway or to your other side where we have a roads department. So you have the roads department leader and the food bank all in certain proximity.
But we know at Centennial, you've got the gazebo, like the main areas with that they could deface. And have the cameras set on those.
The other nice thing about Ring or Google or whatever you want to use is if you know somebody's on the property and they're doing bad things, you can actually turn your, well, there's a siren. I can turn the siren on at my house, or I can take myself off mute and yell at whoever is in my yard. And you can hear what's going on in my
I
yard.
love that.
Oh, I scare the hell out of my
I
dad
bet
the
you
other day.
do. Or did.
I've got my dad's on here as well. And I can. He's not outside right now. It's too bad because I could scare him, but it's pretty funny. But yeah, no, so it's,
Okay, well, I guess what we'll do is for the reach out, get signage.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
show
yeah,
you
those,
so that you
yeah.
don't have to look at the whole thing. See, here's, so there's nothing, and then look, all of a sudden, at 1:39, my dad is walking across the yard. I don't know what he's
Does he
doing.
know that you're recording him?
Oh, yeah. It's his ring, and then again, at 1:40, he comes back. Probably getting groceries out of his truck,
So that picks up all motion.
all motion, but then look, live view, he's not out there anymore.
So it depends where it's situated. It's like all I'm saying, I'm not interested in a hardwire system like
No.
that. All like the thing is like the need is gonna change.
Yeah.
So instead of us installing 100 different things, then we can be like, you know what, we're having issues or roads department, okay, we'll transfer over here. At least deters it for a bit with proper, and that's what I said, a nice walk makes it a big difference.
Do some shopping, see what you find.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring it back to June and see where we are.
But in the meantime, signage
Yeah.
and motion detector, I mean, you're talking minimal cost. Right? You can run to Home Hardware right now and get motion
Pick up.
lights. Yeah,
Okay,
put them in the trees.
boy mounts. Anyways,
Okay,
things went up.
this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard after the people of Floymount waiting 2 years and us waiting 15 months. 15 months for this play structure. Tell the rest of council what happened, Kevin.
Anyways, we went up and we prepped the site and everything and had contact with the company. Yeah, we're good to go next Tuesday. So we went up Tuesday morning and they brought up 3 flatbed trucks and unloaded everything and laid everything out and started emptying out boxes and said, oh, we're missing some parts. Anyways, the parts we were missing were the feet for the play structure.
Important
So,
piece,
pardon me?
the important piece.
The most
The
important-
first piece.
The first piece.
Yeah.
So, make a long story short, we put it all back on the trailers and we were lucky that the works garage in Flint was empty. So we put everything inside and stay tuned. Basically, they said maybe 2 weeks going for a rush order on it, but I'll wait and see what goes on. So that's where we are.
Ridiculous.
Thanks for trying.
One of those things. And that's like it's.
We're almost there.
The feet are like just adjustable, they're a foot long and they got all the holes in them.
Maybe we should put something on our Facebook page for the people of Floyd.
If something can go wrong, it will.
But I mean, of all
They're
things,
coming soon.
yeah, but of all things to be missing. Like if it was a bracket, you probably could have run down the hill and grabbed a bracket at a hardware store or screws or whatever. But the feet,
Yeah, it was, yeah. Anyways, there was a lot of phone calls and.
Well, the prep looked good at least.
thank
I
goodness,
was up there on
Were you?
on the weekend.
Yeah,
thank goodness the county plow isn't in the Flame garage right now.
yeah, we were one day pretty well utilized. The Legion Field, as you can see, minor ball, soccer. The adult ball tournament was supposed to happen this week, it got canceled because of the rain. Yeah, but it's the right call on that one because it would have been just a mess. I received one quote for the shade structure up there. I'm waiting on the other one, hopefully they'll get it this week. And a little notice I just got on Friday is we were chosen for Taste of Valley again, which is news on August the 12th.
In the arena.
No, of Legion Field.
Okay.
And we are going to partner with North Algona Wilberforce.
That's what the.
It's at the arena.
That is at the arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year they moved it, Kevin.
Yeah,
That's good.
That's what we discussed.
And it is a partnering?
we're partnering with North Algona Wilberforce. Kevin would have been up at Legion Field alone.
Parking.
That's right on the.
Nobody is.
Okay, no, that's good because it doesn't say on the
Yeah.
poster right now.
Look at little things, number one, kind of utilizing inside, even if it's not the entire arena floor, but utilizing the atrium. And because last year we had vendors pull out the night before because we had a little hurricane that went through. And also it's just easier with the washrooms and parking and everything.
And they won't qualify to. Those are all.
Don't we all?
So, yeah, they changed the specs, Kev, so we had to move it.
No, that's perfect. Rotary Beach, just got the ladder fixed up and fixed up some other artist painting on the wall, but minor. Just a few things, Beaver Tails is coming to us again on June the 2nd and 3rd and 4th for the weekend, and June 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
You can need those dates again, sorry, because we're gonna have to notify
Yes, we will, yeah.
June 2nd, 24th,
No, June 2nd, 3rd and 4th weekend,
3rd and 4th,
and June
Paid
21st
attention over there, is that?
and June 3rd,
June 24th.
June 21st,
21st.
22nd.
Yeah.
And 23rd.
and
Perfect. Not Canada Day?
No, he's books.
Of course he does. I was just hoping.
Need to probably book for next year. right?
Yeah, a girl can hope.
And that's both in June,
Pardon me?
June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and June 21st, 22nd, 23rd.
No, July.
July, okay, thank you.
Do we have any ice cream vendors around here for Canada Day? Sorry, just
We
asking a
used
random
to.
question.
I don't, not
Anymore?
anymore, no.
And one thing to discuss is, Heather Davidson's looking to run a day camp up at the rec building at Legion Field for, she's going to see what her response is on her entries from her groups. Looking for maybe a week in July or a week in August, going to depend, everything's open for discussion, what her response is on her,
Is she looking for, sorry, is this a week or is it the whole summer or?
she's looking
something?
for at least a week each month, and it's going to depend if the response is good in July, she may want more. Anyways, she was wondering if the charge could be waived or normally we like for this event, she is charging her students, so or she will be charging her students.
Okay, so that's something that we've discussed before, that if there's no charge, then we would waive when we were talking about the Eagles Nest. The youth center is not in use. What kind of staff time are we looking at if we allow her to use it with a waived fee? Or is there an amount for the week that we should be charging her? Like, should there be a $50 fee for her for the week? Just so that, you know, if staff need to be on hand, I mean, she's trustworthy, you can give her a key. I'm talking about if there was a problem, God forbid, a pipe burst.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, things like that. I'm just, I think that there does need to be some sort of fee, perhaps not the daily fee that we would normally charge. Because I think that the more we get that building in use, there'll be other people that will think, wow, if she did a yoga day camp, then maybe we should do an arts and crafts day camp or a sports day camp. I think that there's possibilities after it being closed for so many years. Obviously, no fault of ours that it was closed for 3 years during COVID, but let's get stuff opened back up. Those were just my thoughts when I read Kevin's report, but I
was thinking of the upgrades that need to be done. Have those been done yet? Like, I remember the door needed to be fixed, the ramp for accessibility.
The door, neither of those, but,
That there's things within the building that still need
Actually, did you
repair.
approach the curling club? It just got renovated and it's a nicer facility, to be honest.
I do not know that.
There's like, I would say, I don't think we should waive it. It isn't, I just don't think, I look at, I guess, I don't want to undercut other organizations that are trying to rent their facilities that
Yeah.
are having difficulty doing it as well. But I have no problem charging a set rate fee if that's what we want to continue if anyone comes in and charges a fee for it. And that's because it's the precedents that we've already set before, is that if it was like just someone volunteering their time and wanting to
Yes.
utilize the space,
yes.
then I would be like, yeah, 100%, you know what, I'll waive it. But when it comes to like private business fees, if not, we'll have like
agree.
other things up there,
Yeah, but
like a retail and other things.
I think you need to tell us what you think. Should it be $50? Should it be $75? Should it be $100? Like, I think you need to tell us, Kev. Because only you and your staff know, you know, what would be I'm not talking about full cost recovery.
No.
I'm just thinking, and I get the idea about the curling club, but the youth center is so prime for the splash pad and the tennis courts if the kids want to do other things on the tennis courts, as opposed to walking across the parking
But you have
lot.
that whole, like, you have all that 20 by 30 or 20 by 20
The deck.
shelter deck that's there, that's
I
actually
know.
good, it's like good,
Amazing.
and it's good for kids and stuff. It's like, hey, like, there's no free, like, that's free of charge to use, anyone could use that. I mean,
Yeah.
the schools go up there, all sorts of organizations go up there.
I think there's a need. I mean, just scanning social and people requesting in the area for daycare,
Mhm.
definitely a need. It
Oh,
might
yeah.
be, you know, something really successful all year round.
And we are partnering with Smitty's again. But I like the idea of utilizing our own assets as well. Trying to get kids into things right here that would also maybe be a little easier for parents, but
Maybe we have to look at more so the daily, a weekly rate, because if it was a hourly rate, then it's like, you
Yeah.
know, if she's out there for 6 hours kind of deal, it all adds up, so.
okay, but that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Instead of the hourly rate or the daily rate, is there something we could do as a block for a week that would be fair to her just starting out and fair to us as well?
Okay,
So maybe council, maybe we don't need to micromanage this. We agreed we're not waiving the fee because it's not,
So historically, was there a fee?
yes, there would be, we charged, when we had the day camp up there,
that's, yeah.
That was a long
This is the first time that I've ever
Yeah.
been at this table and had a request come in.
Okay.
Or that outside conversations about the soccer, or the baseball, wanting to utilize the canteen, and obviously that
Yes.
would be an easy wave, like that makes
Well,
sense.
then thinking of square footage, so you have the canteen area of the rink, I noticed it was $25 for the afternoon, or was that by the hour?
That's just
That's
the lobby.
Lobby.
yeah.
For
that's
the afternoon type
atrium,
thing?
yeah.
So square footage of the youth center to that, I mean, you could benchmark those rates to try and
Pretty
come up,
close.
yeah, to come up
Pretty
with a
close.
rate. And then do it by week.
But maybe instead of micromanaging, our decision is, no, we're not waiving because it would be precedent setting, and we've already said, the five of us. That this was going to be kind of our informal policy. If you were volunteering, we would waive. If it was a paper,
Or the youth.
But I
committee,
would say
yeah.
it's help get them in touch with the curling club as well, because that's a much better facility up there. To
But I
utilize than our
don't-
community center, in my opinion.
I'm not
She's
sure. that
probably
they-
asking for it because.
It's right
there's
there.
Surrounding
Sure.
that,
If
your
that's
point
the-
was splash pad.
And not running across the parking lot.
I don't know if the curling, do they have other things going on in the summer, the curling club?
The
Yeah.
escape room,
That's not in the area
which
which,
we will be doing.
that's not where the kitchen is though.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
different altogether.
It was downstairs, yeah.
Well, the best thing I do is, I'll go back and this works, to see what's gonna work out the best, reach back to her, and, because she's not looking till July or August.
Why don't you and Annette chat?
Yeah.
And we'll table this for your next meeting, but try and come up with an amount that you think would be fair to both parties.
Yeah.
Because I think, as I said earlier, I think that this could be a jump off point, so we want to make sure that there's a bit of cost recovery without, without impeding people from doing exactly this kind of thing. Because it's really necessary.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much the, in my reports. Any questions from council?
No question? Thanks.
So day camp means it's kids go there, you go home at night for supper.
That's correct.
And she started to talk about 1 day a week, is that right? So she's setting out the ground.
That's right. She,
Okay.
it's still, she's doing a lot of ground, has to do a lot of groundwork just to figure out exactly and, what response she's going to get. And like, you know, she may set out a schedule and she may only have 3 or 4 kids this week. Well, it's not, maybe it's not feasible. to do-
Exactly.
To do it that week, so.
I'd like a little more information on her to make a model. Okay, let's say this day sells out, we want it for this day, and then we come up with a plan and a price.
Yeah.
And it'll be, and I would like to make it very fair so that we get kids on the ground.
And I think too, what upgrades are needed? Is it fine right now for people to use that space, or do you have to get those other things finished?
No,
Upgrade
it's
to the youth center,
The youth center be okay right now.
Okay,
It's not-
okay.
not-
because if you did have to do them, that's a whole other
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's, they can be definitely utilized right now.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kev. Can you just shoot out an email when you get the parts for the, so we know? So that if we're asked, we have an answer, because this is very frustrating.
I hear you.
Is our building inspector still here? Yes, he is.
He came and he went and he came.
Daryl is still here.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
So we'll start in with the calls to date. April was a very busy month, as you see from compared to last year. A lot of it had to do with that windstorm we had, but they have been out quite a bit. There was one call in particular, I just seen the fire facts, it was a cat under a floorboard. So
That's like an old style joke, like the fire department goes out and rescue the cat from the tree.
yeah, I couldn't believe it myself. but
When it gets hungry, it'll come out.
It actually got stuck.
Was it saved? Well, now I need to know.
No.
It was, I just seen it today, so
Can you let us know next meeting?
sure, I can let you know.
They got saved if it makes you happy.
Okay.
They'll just tell you that to make you happy.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah, so we're on our provincial burn season. I do get a M&R update every day, so we are looking at, we're in moderate right now. So we're just constantly monitoring to see how it's going. So he's had a chance to read my report on the community risk assessment and the master fire. So
I'll start. I always give our SLT a heads up before I have these little rants of mine. Number one, Daryl's report does indicate that it's due on July of 2024. We were told by the previous Solicitor General that the extension would be given till 2025. So I'm not very happy about that, and I would like confirmation from the Solicitor General's office that that is in fact the case. My second rant is that this plan is $50,000 for a municipality of 4,000 people. And I see in their documentation, you know, the Township of Portland has used them for one plan, and there are other small municipalities that have used them. I don't get from their 30-page sales job from the consultant exactly where we're gonna land with this plan. I know that there are two different ones. The master plan I get, the community risk assessment, I don't. You know, we could never have anticipated 2017, we had a 100-year flood. Took us all by surprise. 2019, we were given one day. Holy Thursday night, we knew that it was gonna flood, out sandbagging Good Friday morning. You could not, if it's once in 100 years, but it happened 2 out of 3 years, then it wasn't once in 100 years. And you know, we do emergency management exercises at this table, and it's great. We need to have plans. We need to know where we need to be for these emergencies. But it doesn't matter what the emergency is, it's always going to be different. I will tell you, the floods from 2017 to the floods to 2019, night and day. Night and day. And I can say that, I was the warden at the time, I toured the entire county. It was heartbreaking, but I don't understand in their documentation where we're going to land with this and what is the Ontario Fire Marshal going to do with it. Second piece of the rant is this not something that we should be doing in-house with our fire advisor coming in and helping? Because at Roma, 3 years ago, help me out, 2 years ago,
3 years, yeah, 2020.
they,
We talked to them in 2020.
yeah, at Roma, the Roma spoke about it at 2020. And then the pandemic hit, and that's why they gave us the extra year. But even at that time, they said that small municipal fire departments, they would send in our fire advisor to help our chiefs do the plan internally. So I don't think it's gonna cost us to pay you, not that you're not worth it, Daryl, but this is a $50,000 document. And I'm just wondering, how deep are they gonna go? Like, we're not a big municipality, and we're certainly not the city of Toronto. If we were even if we were even Kingston, I might see this, but Bonnechere Valley,
They have quite a team aligned to their proposal as well. It's a significant team for $50,000.
but why is this not something that we can't do in our municipality with the people we already employ who know our area better than anybody? And then you have the fire advisor or somebody from the fire marshal's office or emergency management. You have them come in, review the plan, and make sure that we haven't missed anything. The other thing is there have got to be templates of other municipalities that have done
What do you think they're using?
exactly.
Well,
So,
And it's not stealing. Copying is the most sincere form of flattery. I just think, and these
Consulting.
plans have to be posted on people's websites. So why is it that we can't go? Obviously, they're not always gonna be the same.
No.
They've got to be modeled for your size municipality, but I'm gonna end my rant there. I'm gonna let other people rant. But when I read this, number one, I'm very frustrated that you're still being told 2024. That's very frustrating to me. And the fact that, and I get where the money's coming from our modernization, but this goes back to less red tape. And every time we sit at this table, it's more red tape. I mean, good God, Jason sat there at our last meeting and talked about these reports he has to do for our manholes, for our sewer grates. I mean, how much more is the province going to put on us? They want you to train to city standards. They now want you to do what I consider two plans that are only good in a real urban area. Do we want to know where our risks are? Yes, we do, but I think you know that. Your fire department knows that better than any consultant. Rant over. Drop the mic.
We already have an updated critical infrastructure protection plan.
Yes.
We have an emergency measure plan. We have annual exercises, all as mandated. I would suggest to them that we'd be happy to pay a per capita rate that's equal to Toronto. So Toronto paid $4 million for their plan. That's $1 per capita. We should pay $1,300, not $50,000.
They can take off some of their team in their proposal to get to that.
Well, basically,
You see the
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I worked in
Right?
consulting forever. Yeah, no.
yeah, so it is heavily weighted against small municipalities.
definitely.
And that's unfair to everyone.
To your point, I think we have the expertise in our township, in council, and in all of our departments. We talked about doing a strategic plan a couple of meetings ago, updating the plan, right? And you had proposed that we do that internally as well. So this is,
Because
would be
you
part of
know
that
better
plan.
than we know it.
but this has to be part of that overall plan along with all of the other departments.
I agree. And when I opened up our packages for today, the first thing I thought was, oh, silly Daryl, you wrote the wrong year. Right? I was thinking maybe you just typed in 2024 and didn't, and then I checked with them when we got here. Well, no, that's exactly not what we were told we were told during COVID, we're gonna give you an extra year. So where did that go? But even if it's July 2024, the Solgen promised us fire advisors that would come and help.
What are they
So
charged?
and they are paid by our income tax through the province. Sorry, apparently my rant was not over. I'm just getting, guys, I'm getting to the point where every time we turn around, the province is all over us for another piece of paper that, I mean, we're trying to recover from possibly the worst thing we've ever gone through. And we're trying to do good things for our residents. We're investing some money in some stuff that they've been missing for so long. And now we're supposed to spend $50,000 on a document that could potentially never be looked at.
But more importantly, the fire department could use that $50,000 better to train, to bring our firefighters up to spec, which is also demanded,
Or a new body, another body.
or recruiting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there is two components to this report. One is the community risk, one is the master fire plan. Now, the community risk assessment, like you said, everybody's different, but they do a very deep dive. And it takes, there's a lot of personnel hours involved, almost 700 hours, which correlates to 17 and a half weeks at 40 hours a week. So as for the master fire plan, it's going to lay out the fire department over the next 5 to 10 years. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm looking at succession planning already. The next time I go out, I'm never coming back. So,
You said that.
That was a threat.
so that's what the master fire plan is for. I mean, it'll lay out where we need to look, because as people, we got natural gas coming, we got high speed internet. People are going to start moving here, more pressure on infrastructure, means more pressure on fire department. So we have to start looking at, we're going to have to grow. So now we do.
But this is not the way to grow.
What was,
I mean, Councillor Epps has been with us for 6 months and he just laid it out. That, I mean, succession planning, we all know it's a succession plan around here. You're going to have problems finding firefighters no matter what you do. But I am so close to taking the keys to your fire, putting the 5 of us in a truck, driving to Michael Kersner's office and putting the keys on his desk and saying, you figure it out. And I think that there are going to be small municipalities through the training, recruitment, retention, and this, that there are going to be municipalities that say, we can't afford to do fire anymore. We can't do it. Like we've already, and I know that your job is split, but you are essentially a full-time fire chief. You know, we've invested money after money after money because the province has changed the rules in the middle of the game. And Daryl, you've been on this department longer than anybody, right? You know what it was like for us, not for me, but for the fire department in the year 2001, right? Where you basically had a bucket and a bunker and a bunker code. I mean, it wasn't, it's not like it is now where, you know, every year you've got to have your ladders checked, even if they've never been used.
Yeah.
You know, your bunker gear is good for 10 years, even if it's never been used. There are so many rules that between the Ministry of Labor and the OFMEM that are put into place, they're pricing us out of the fire department industry. And at what point, you know, we're not even legislated to have a fire department, but we know that our residents deserve it. And we keep your costs low. But this kind of thing, when we're promised less red tape, and this is a huge piece of, both of them, huge red tape. I'm out.
When was this plan done last time? Has it been done?
Never.
To this extent?
The CRA's
Never.
the master fire plan, I don't believe has ever been done.
No.
Now. We have been a struggle trying to keep a fire advisor in this county. The last gentleman, he was here, he was also a CBO. He ended up taking a job with Mississippi Mills, I believe, so he got out.
Doesn't matter. The OFMEM has to provide us with a fire advisor, whether they want to or not. So call John Pegg and say, we need somebody. I'm just. They are so focused on union, big city fire departments. It's really getting me down. And I mean, I sat in the lobby with the guys at Roma or at AMO that were talking about firefighter certification. They're all big city. All of them. So I don't know, and you know, I really felt that the Solgen, Michael Kersner, did listen when we did our delegation. But there again, the fire marshal sitting right across from us had a justification for everything for certification. But he's not thinking, and they haven't used small departments as in their consultations. And it's pretty upsetting when they say, oh, we consulted with 27.
Yeah.
I think 27 fire departments, and I said, okay, how many of those were, you know, municipalities under 5,000? They couldn't answer it. You know why they couldn't? Because they probably didn't have any. Right? They're gonna consult with the ones that are large, full-time, composite, unionized.
Well, they do ask for our opinion, but I don't really think it carries any weight.
Yeah, okay, or that. No, that's you filling out a survey. That's not you actually sitting on a panel, right? Like, I think there's even when you were in GM, I think there's a difference there.
Well, I did get this report or this proposal in GM, but that was because I was wearing multiple hats and I just did not have time to do it. But that being said, I don't know where they're at in GM with this CRA master fire plan.
Okay, do you want to wait and see?
The person that replaced me has since left. They have a new fire chief. I don't know if I can reach out to him and see where they're at.
Okay.
And maybe when it's at the end of the day, I can get a copy of theirs and we can take a look at starting to work on it.
But you
it is
were-
a huge document.
Your building official role in GM was far heavier, right? I mean, that was your main
Yeah.
shtick. Okay. So I'm just, and I'm not trying to throw more work on you, but I do want to throw more work back to the OFMEM. Because if they want this, pay for it or come and help us with it. One or the other. I will officially stop talking now. I'm just,
That's annoying.
I think because we just heard from Jason 2 weeks ago. And it just feels like we are pushing a rope uphill.
Well, it's also 50 grand where like our gravel budget for the year is 80K.
I know,
They're like, there's 2/3 of the
I know.
gravel budget pretty much. But it's like anything, it's like how much more paperwork can you do?
No, I get that. I just don't want that. We go ahead and do this ourselves. And then they come in and review it and they say, well, you gotta start over. Then we're back to square one.
but that's why the previous Solgen said, utilize your fire advisor, so that doesn't happen.
Well,
We must
real-
have examples
but-
of this, no?
But realistically, we would have to do the the groundwork anyway, so we either do it now or say down the road, we have to. Magically like bring a consultant to do it, then the groundwork's already done.
But there is a lot of component that is gonna rely on Daryl and Mike Felsky, a lot of stuff.
Well,
To-
no, and that's the thing, it's like, we all know like a risk assessment, well, 100%, you guys probably already know all the risk, and you can look at certain buildings that they go up. There's not much you can do.
The great thing about consultants is they're facilitators to extract the information from Daryl and the other people, staff, right? So they know what information they need. To your point, they need to get it from the current staff.
Yeah,
So I
Well-
agree with you in terms of.
Well, yeah, we're
doing it
small,
ourselves.
we're also a small department.
Okay,
and yeah. Anyway, that's where I am saying no, but I'm only one member of council. Apparently, I'm the loudest member of council today, and I apologize for that.
So we're in agreement, we need a plan, a fire plan, master fire plan. We're just not in agreement that it has to be
This one,
this one.
Yeah.
And we think it's possible that our local resources and personnel could come up with a very appropriate fire plan and emergency management plan. But ultimately it would have to be approved by the people who sent us this document.
when I,
No.
when I,
No, this is just.
It's a consulting.
So I'm just saying, I would recommend just to do it in-house and see where that takes us and go from there.
Well, and the beautiful thing about that is Daryl can reach out to our fire advisor. If we don't have a fire advisor, well,
Good
then
point.
it's on the OFMEM. It's not on us.
maybe I got it wrong, but my first take on reading this was the company trying to sell their product.
That's exactly what it is.
So why do we have to buy it?
We don't.
So,
I think it's a lot of money for taxpayers for us to consider spending that. And obviously coming out of this is a very tight budget that we're going into.
And I'm glad that this came up after the budget because our new members got to see, you know, where we're spending, where we're not spending.
Yeah, it's very lean.
It is.
And I think that if we have the framework of what's required for this plan, that we work on it as much as we can, and then obviously work with the fire advisor, and if you need to bring in another consultant, it could be significantly less money than obviously what this company is offering. Could be one body, not 10.
but the province doesn't say you gotta use this company,
No,
so.
no.
So the analogy is that we make our fire management plan shovel ready. In other words, we want to build a new youth center, so we have plans and ideas according that are doable, and we wait for the grant to come along. So in this case, we
That's,
start with our fire management plan, we get it ready to the best of our ability, and then when they finally say publish it, we've got, as Brent said, a lot of the work has been put on paper already.
but I think the onus doesn't only need to be on Daryl and perhaps, you know, his 2IC, whatever that looks like, or his fire prevention officers. I think the onus has to be on the OFMEM. They made a promise to us,
And the
So-
official, what's the official that we don't have?
we don't have
a fire advisor.
Fire advisor, that's a provincial
Yeah.
official.
I forgot that guy left.
Yeah.
You just, I totally forgot about that, but I think you're right about where he went.
The Mississippi knows.
Well, that might speak something about his importance if you didn't realize he was gone.
Mr. Chair, can I just clarify something?
Please.
So the community risk assessment is what's required by 2024. And so we can work on that. It's the one that's 16,000, and then the fire master plan is the one that's 33. And we do not have the in-house, we can't do the fire master plan, so, but it's not required. So we could put that aside and work on the community risk assessment, looking at templates online and working with our fire advisor, who would be able to review what we put together and advise us if we're missing something or if we need something. So I just want to be clear which plan we're moving forward with. We're moving forward with the community risk assessment, not the master fire plan.
My apologies, I could
Okay.
have said that.
Thank you.
Sorry about that enough. I agree that we do need a community risk assessment. I do. I just know that it might not be worth the paper it's written on.
And this is the group that Erica works on, and I guess Daryl as well, the emergency measures. planning
No,
Group.
this is separate. This is specifically for fire.
Okay.
That they've come out with the new regulation, when we came out with it back before, so it has to be done. The master fire plan is over and above. The reason why I believe, and Daryl can correct me if I'm wrong, that we suggested this company is because they are working with other local municipalities, so they're in the area, so it was the best deal we could get. It was probably 20 grand more if you were going with anybody else, so it was the best deal we could get in the time frame required to get the plan done, so.
You know what, though, you just brought up a very good point, Jeanette. If they're working with other local municipalities, why wouldn't we have gotten together and tendered all together? Like, we've got to stop working in silos.
Mhm.
It's gotta stop.
Mhm.
And I, no offense, and let's all remember my husband was the chief. But my gosh, the fire departments put up silos around themselves. We've got to stop. Like, guys, we cannot afford to say, this is my backyard, that's your backyard. We just can't afford to do it anymore. But even at 16,000, no, like, I think that,
Have we budgeted for this? I'm
no,
not aware of it, so
It's-
is it hidden somewhere?
no, we could have taken it out of the modernization money.
Yeah.
But why? Why dilute that fund when, I think, it was you, John, that said it could be used for other things?
When are we, talking about our strategic planning as a group?
I would say in the fall.
So it's
Let's get
time
through the
away.
summer.
Yeah,
And again, so you're asking, and the reason I want a council check-in at our first meeting in June is for exactly that. So you kind of nailed it before you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
No,
I can
that's
read
okay.
minds.
That's okay.
Um,
I want to know, how was your first half year and where are we going? Because I would think in September, that wouldn't be a bad time to start our strat plan. Over the summer, very little happens and, we're all, school's out for summer.
Yeah,
So, but yeah. Anyway, thank you for clarifying, and I should have divided them up. I didn't. Because I'm,
and we have done a community development plan in the past, right? We have done this plan in the past, the community improvement plan, no?
no, community improvement
Oh,
plan we
sorry,
have.
what-
The community risk assessment, we have not been mandated to do either of them. So this is what I'm saying. This is new red
All of
tape
it's new, okay.
from a government that came in 2018 and said, we're gonna reduce red tape.
Yeah.
And Annette and I were talking before our meeting. She said, she's been around for 15 years. She's never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Every time we turn around, we're getting more and more.
So
Makes
who
you
says that
wonder
at
why
the
you
end
do
of the
this
day,
job.
at the end of the day, who's reviewing this to adopt it, to say, hey, it's okay?
Yeah,
Who is it? Is it-
us.
No, I'd be,
Well, and the
I'm
OFM,
thinking in government, is there,
yeah.
so they will review this at the end of the day and say,
Nope.
you're not, okay,
If they
that
come
makes
here
a
and
difference.
they want to see it,
Right.
they can request it. But they are not saying we have to submit them.
So it could be a plan on a page, is really what I'm
But
getting
that-
to.
That's what they said.
It needs to be approved by council.
Oh, one pager.
Exactly.
I
That's it.
know.
That's the way it's done these days, so.
maybe
Sorry, Murph.
Maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but surely we can sit here and say, or the person in town, what if, what if, what if? And what do we do to respond to the what if?
I agree with you and stop calling me Shirley.
I said surely,
Leslie, what's his face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yes.
what if? That's what it's down to.
Little airplane humor never hurt anybody. Roger,
Exactly.
Roger. Anyway, I think that we are smart enough kids. We've already talked about trying to do the strat plan with a very inexpensive facilitator just to keep us on brand. But I don't know who knows our municipality better than our fire department and us. And so I don't care if the fire advisor has to come from Windsor. Because we pay for the fire advisors, whether we have a dedicated one or not. Oh, my land.
Window's already open.
I told you it was gonna be heated today. I'm just getting really, guys, to the end of my rope with every time a department head comes to us. It's just it's so hard to and to put all of this on them, I think is so unfair, like changing their roles in the middle of the game.
So what is our outcome from this next steps?
Carol and I are working on the CRA, the fire advisor. That's what I got from it,
Yep,
and the master plan is aside for now.
as long as everybody's okay with that.
Hmm,
And we can. Maybe take a stab at the master fire plan, but
You know what? Get through what's legislated for now, Daryl. Don't take on. Like, just don't. Don't like, do what you have to do at this point. Don't get yourself muddled up in more of their red tape that you're not submitting.
And if we can live with it and Annette can live with it, we'll sign. We'll back you up because we need to have a plan that we can submit and, but I can't make the plan with the same amount of skill that you can. So.
I'm fine with it.
I want to see the OFM come to the party.
That'll take a couple of years, so we're good.
You stole that out of my brain.
Sorry, read your mind, girl.
Just keep in mind, it is a different soul gen now, but. Don't say something at a conference in front of 1,500 people.
Okay, so we're done with fire? We're good?
I'm
Ready
so
to go on
done
the
with
next
fire.
one.
Okay, we'll move on to building. So my monthly report is attached. We're down a little bit from last year at this time, but not a lot. Our values are up due to the 2 apartment buildings that went up. But there is, the permits are coming in, but they're coming in dribs and drabs, but it's not like it was last year, but it is, every year's different. So,
The other thing is, Daryl, like, our skylight leak that you fixed before. And I need somebody to come and help me drywall that patch of ceiling. I can't find anybody.
yeah, that is another.
Right, our upstairs bathroom, I told you we want to retile. I can't find anybody and I can tile, but I need help with the tub. We can't find anybody. So why bother? I mean, not for those things. I don't need a permit, obviously, but if I can't even find somebody to do simple jobs. Why take out a building permit to build something else?
Some contractors are 2 or 3 years out before they can even get anybody.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Well, you're 2 or 3 years out and also your interest rates are gonna have a huge impact, right?
Yeah,
Like on people wanting to do anything.
Yeah.
Like your cost to borrow is a lot significantly higher, right? So it's not as affordable as it has been previously as well.
have building materials come down at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, it depends which material too, right? So if you're talking steel or wood, they're all different, right?
Yeah.
So. And then attached is the monthly, where they're all at, so.
Perfect, thanks, Daryl.
thank you.
you.
2:15, or we're a little bit behind.
Yeah, let's
all
do
right.
that and then take 5,
You want to do that first or take 5 now?
whatever you want, Chair.
What, take 5 now.
We'll have some water.
Yeah, I can use some water too.
Any of you guys want a glass of water? Yeah.
What we're wearing.
That's right.
Yeah,
Lasso
yeah.
us, Merv.
We're back on.
Back on.
All right, so I guess I'm not, right?
You are.
Tell us your tale of woe.
Oh, I am getting, the cat was saved.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Just got a,
I told you. I
Yeah.
Don't lie.
It got hungry.
thank goodness the cat was saved.
Right.
Sorry, Annette.
Annette, carry on, please.
You got the chair.
Fine.
Okay. So the pound officially closed on April 30th, 2023. No animals in the pound, so it has been cleaned up. There are still probably some surplus, materials there. So at some point, we maybe have to have a discussion whether we declare those surplus to the needs of the township, and they can go to the highest bidder, or there may only be one bidder who wants them. I don't know. There may be nobody who wants them, but that's the municipal law enforcement services has been responding to bylaw and animal control issues now for a month. So far, so good. I think I've only had one issue up in Foymouth that I've sort of done some in between corresponding between the two agencies, because they, for whatever, they keep calling each other back, but anyway, hopefully at some point, I know the resident did say that they got the issue is correct, but they wanted to follow up and speak with them, so they called, and then I called municipal law enforcement services. They called me back and said, well, we called, we left a message, but then they didn't call back, so anyway, still only following up on that one. Everything else, as far as I know, has gone well. I've had no other concerns brought to my attention. The proposed fee bylaw, so we did review that today at 1:15, and it's been on the website since last Thursday. Also, it was in my report from last month, April 25th. So I haven't had any calls or anybody. One person asked for a copy of it. I emailed it. So I'm going to assume there are no concerns have been brought forward, and I'll bring it back with a bylaw to the next council meeting. We did meet, as you noticed in Kevin's report, about the Truth and Reconciliation Garden, and picked out a location behind the mosaic up on the hill, which I think is a very nice location. And we talked about getting signs done in both English and Anishinaabe. So those will be good. And the three areas that we were concentrating on is Every Child Matters, the Three Sisters Garden. So I don't know if you know the story of Three Sisters, but if you don't, you can Google it. It's very interesting. And also the red dress for missing and murdered Indigenous women. So those would be the three. We did talk about having it, maybe a shovel, a groundbreaking ceremony for June 21st, which is National Indigenous Day. However, we probably won't have anything else ready to go. So it's really just a shovel in the ground that day. So maybe some promotion on social media that we are working towards this, and have the actual official ribbon cutting when it will be completely done on September 30th on Truth and Reconciliation Day, which I believe is a Saturday this year. So that'll be nice, and possibly if the Three Sisters Garden does well, or if it doesn't, maybe somebody else has one that does well. I hope it does do well. We can have some Three Sisters soup at that ceremony. Would be kind of an interesting concept.
That's beans, squash, and corn.
Yeah. So they support each other as they grow.
And it's good if you put onions in it too.
Okay.
It strengthens the Three Sisters, apparently.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either. So I have eaten the soup before. It's very good.
It's very good.
I know the story. It's a good story. So we, so we did need to do that. I did do a little, there was a free app. Because we had, if I show you my drawings, they're not very good, not a very good. So anyway, we did do drawings at the site, but I went and found a free app online for landscaping, and kind of did something that was, I thought, looked much better than my stick drawing. So I've included that as well in my report. But that's sort of what we were looking at now for the September 30th ribbon cutting. Likely the hanging baskets which they've asked, that's all that they've asked for the township other than the space is for us to supply the hanging baskets. They're going to do everything. And maybe we may have to pay for some of the signage. Then By then, they probably won't be in the best of shape by September 30th. I don't know how the hanging baskets are always, sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't, so we'll see. If they're not doing very well, then we will go out and get some mums or something of the similar colors and have them there for the ceremony. So those are really the only two areas where we're investing at this time. That's all we've been asked to do, so we'll keep going with that. The report, so you saw the tender recommendations for winter sand and gravel, along with, we just discussed the community risk assessment and fire master plan. Staff is also, so we purchased the file hold system back in 2020, 2021, one of the modernization fundings. And it just has, like, between the election and between the pandemic and everything that's happened, we haven't had the time to initiate it. And of course, we also did we did an operational review, we updated our asset management plan, we've had quite a few HR, people that we've moved through the corporation. So all of those things have taken some time and some effort, but we do plan to move forward with that this year. So that we're all filing in the same way, we're all using it on the same system, and I think that will really do well for when we're searching for files, when people come and ask us for stuff, and you'll be able to find it at our fingertips, and you'll be able to ask anybody, for most of the things. There will be some access to files that's restricted where it's supposed to be, but and that's all covered under MPIPA as well, that you're only supposed to give a grant access where access should be granted and that kind of thing. So, and then helps us also, although standard keeps us in pretty good shape, keeping up with our retention bylaw and moving the files along, but it'll make it easier to do that as well. And insurance renewal, still working on that. They did get back with me with some questions, so we will have to probably bring forward another policy for abuse, because although we do have harassment, violence and things like that with our and conduct for council, for staff, if we're going to be continuing to offer some youth programming, which does appear to be the road that we are traveling down. We've got the youth dances, public skating. I think Sarah and Connect Well, although it's really under Connect Well, but we are participating in it or doing that food class, things like that. And the library already has one as well, but we should probably have a policy now. I did work on one because I'm on the board for Camp Lutherland, and they're an overnight camp, so they have really strict. So I do have one that I worked on that got passed by that board. So I'll probably go back to that drawing board and see what applies to the township and move forward with that. So that'll be coming forward. Hopefully we'll have it passed by the end of June before the renewal in July, but we'll do the best that we can. Not something that they ever asked for before. We met with Enbridge to discuss the expansion of natural gas into Boulder Valley. So it's still in the design stage. They're supposed to be sharing some drawings with Daryl and Jason, and we're going to continue to move forward and work with them. And also I was last week I was not well. I've had some bronchitis, and I'm still I'm much better now, but I was not breathing very well last week at all. And so I seem to come around, but I did take Wednesday off as well because I was teaching a course for the Municipal Clerks Institution on records management, and we did have a couple of attendees from Renfrew County. So that's it's always a good opportunity to give back to the industry
and to fly the flag.
Yeah. The IESO, this pertains more to generations, but I just wanted to update council and public, because as shareholders of that corporation, just to be aware that our contract does expire in 2027, and we are working with them in negotiations. And we did receive also a desktop audit. So this is probably one of the reports when the mayor was talking about department heads talking about different requests from the province. I have a desktop audit from the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility, which is due June 6th. So it's on my desk. So
I'm not going to rant again.
I'm working towards that.
It was a blanket rant today, Matt.
We also have the landfill gas survey from the Environment Climate Change Canada. This is a federal report now that we have to do. I did look that over with Jason. We do need some support in it, so we've turned to our waste engineers, Cambium, to assist us in that that's going out.
Is there a
that
way of
road.
measuring our gas or methane?
No, they're not requesting that at this point in time, but they are requesting a lot of information from our engineers and the testing that they do, and, yeah.
So what are, I don't want to interrupt you.
Mhm.
So what are we going, which ones are we measuring? Snow drifters? We're not measuring the ones that are measuring the ones that are closed?
We don't measure the gas, no, we do have the test wells and things like that to measure the leachate,
Yeah,
but, I feel like there is one we measure gas at, maybe it is snow drifters. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it is. There is one that, or maybe we don't measure it, but there was something where we did do something with gas.
I go back to when we implemented the Ruby Road one and the engineers report at that, and when it's all closed up.
Yeah.
The minimum amount of gas will probably be coming out of that.
You know what, I think that's what it is, it's if we close it, there are conditions if we close it, I think, to measure it. And I think that is snow drifters. So anyway, we have to fill out this paperwork for, it has to be completed within 15 days, so we're working on that as well. The Ministry of Infrastructure, they are changing how the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund is being allocated to municipalities, so they're really using our asset management plan and how much our assets are worth, whether that's going to be to our benefit, not to our benefit, because everybody measures it differently, and at the end of the day, the envelope of money is not big enough. So, you know, how that's gonna reallocate and what is gonna be a hard amount, I don't know, you know, so.
And nobody can figure out the formula,
Yeah.
like the partnership fund.
Yeah, so
It's all a big mystery.
So that's not due till July. They do have 2 webinars. Both webinars, I'm engaged elsewhere on both of those days, unfortunately. I have passed it off to other staff, and I'm sure they'll pass around the PowerPoints, and it's quite an involved spreadsheet, so I'm sure we'll figure it out. Because we do not want to lose them with that funding. That's a pretty big, over $500,000 for us, so it's very important. New job descriptions, so I did get them completed for the in the admin staff and sort of the transition that we're doing here. So we're working on getting the pay equity committee together. We used to contract that out, but we took training. Sandra and I took training, and some of the other municipalities came on board with us. So we've been assisting each other free of charge now. So once I have that done, I'll know where they're going to be on the grid. We can post it internally and see how that process works out. We also sent the results of the tourism survey that were done both the night, and I think a few people picked them up since then. And we sent that on to Richard Innes from Brain Trust, who did our tourism strategy, and he offered to kind of go over it. And he also offered to schedule a call with Dana and I to sort of talk about next steps in implementation and what he heard from the public and consultation. He also has a court consultation from the sessions that he held when he was here. So I think that's very kind of him to continue to nurture us in this, you know, and so we will see what he has to say. And then, you know, we can discuss more with council as to what council wants to see the next steps are. So if you have any thoughts already, or you filled out a survey, or you have comments or directions you think we should go, let me know. I'll definitely pass them through to Richard, and we can kind of get some direction from him, because I don't know how long, I don't know when his schedule is going to pick up, but he'll be busy because he travels across Canada. So while he's available to us, we'll take it. And then Dana's report. So I won't get into the planning, because of course the zoning and the planning have all of their own meetings and their own applications that council will see as we move through them. Anne is back here on June the 6th. She's already got a full day, lots of people coming in to sit with her. I think she might have 2 spots left.
That is, I cannot believe the uptake on that service.
It's great.
It
It's
really is.
absolutely-
It's
yeah.
so great.
And it's nice because even staff can talk to her. Like
Yeah.
if we're working on something and, you know, it has a planning component, and we can sit down and talk with Anne and look at the county mapping instead of calling her and dealing by email, which is always, you know.
To make my appointment with Anne, do I talk to you or do I go directly to her office?
If you want to talk to Anne,
With an individual.
you can book an appointment through Erica,
Yes.
and she'll, yeah, I think there's 2 times left. I want to say 11:30 and 1:30, but I'm not sure. So there's the meeting today for the shoreline purchase at 5:25, and also the minor variance application, we had that at the last meeting. And there'll be the one before that on April 25th. We also have another minor variance coming forward at a future meeting, so Eric is working on the notice for that now. And RADs, which I think we're done with that one as well. So you'll see as the time goes, the agreements come forward with bylaw and stuff for those. Community development, youth dance, it was held on Friday. I heard it was another successful dance. Great. Which is great. I planned to be there, but unfortunately I was under the weather. The community economic development workshop that was held up in Cobden, Sarah and Dana attended, and actually so did Councillor S. So I didn't know that he was there as well. I knew he was thinking of going, but I hadn't heard that he had actually attended, so that's wonderful. And I hear lots of good things coming out of that. So digital service squad still working hard, and there's collaboration right there, not working in silos. Applying for a digital improvement grant, so that's going to be helpful. The tourism strategy we already talked about, and it was a well-attended event. I would have liked to see a few more people there, but we had a good like a few different people there, so I thought it was well attended. Newsletter is going out. The Eganville and area group did meet here, and we have added them to our insurance now, so that's good. So they'll be covered as directors for the decisions that they're making. And music in the park opening soon. That's always great. And there's a few spots for them available.
Are you going to advertise that?
Music in the park, yeah.
Yeah, because people have been asking me and I
Okay.
said, you're going to, yes, this is what you're going to advertise it. I'd say just keep an eye on the Eagle Leader.
Yeah, we have posted it online and it is on our sign. But I don't know if it's in the leader, so I'll double check that, Merv.
It's in the newsletter though, right?
It is in the newsletter, yeah.
The only thing is, some of them I don't think were confirmed. So it said
Oh, okay.
TBD, but
Okay,
at least the dates are there.
okay. I think all of these are confirmed now. So it looks like we have a pretty good lineup there for June anyway. Canada Day, so lots of things happening there. Rotary's hosting a breakfast. The bouncy castles in the arena, cake cutting at the museum. Valley Venture is coming out, so they're going to be on the lawn there at the arena, so they're at the beach, so that'll be exciting.
They look interesting. I've never
Yeah, they
seen
do.
their
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, and
Perhaps your kids might like it.
we did have somebody pick or drop off, if you've seen in the kitchen, some potato sacks. So we'll be bringing those potato sacks for races. We'll be coming.
I feel a race coming on
yeah.
with council.
Hey, I'll get in the sack if you will.
Quite a few things. So we've got, the Echo Center doing e-bike, and John out at your place, the art in the afternoon. So I think, and we're gonna do an Eganville's Got Talent, so have some of the kids come out and or adults,
Yeah.
or whoever wants to come. You've got a talent, you want to share it, come on stage. We'll have to get some judges lined up for that. And Shania Twain tribute artist again, and a lot of that is being sponsored through local businesses. So I think that's gonna be exciting. The fireworks, the firefighters are working on those. And we're still looking for more food vendors for that day. So far we have one, but I know that the Legion is also doing a bingo and a barbecue. So that's, another thing that's going on that day, which will be great.
Mhm.
And, and we do have vending machines there too. And
And are we starting with Rotary pancakes too?
And Rotary, yeah, the breakfast,
So,
yeah. So
My
I
wife
think
will have to
it's
cook
gonna
it
be
all that day.
okay.
That's
Not at all, not at all.
I'm gonna tell you
It's a
about that.
shame that the fireworks take so long to set up, because the fire department could have put on a really good barbecue at the arena.
Yeah.
Daryl is new in the role. I mean,
There has been talk from a couple of local groups that may, both, minor hockey and the skating club. So something else could come up there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you see the Authors Festival, there as well. So we've got a few, and I don't know if July 3rd has been fixed or not. It's a difficult day, right? Because it's where Canada Day falls and it's a long weekend, so. It's possible. I don't know if we're only gonna have the 3 or we're gonna have all 4. Marriage licenses, summer day camp, so that's where Camp Smitty you were talking about that
Where does
earlier.
that take place now? The Camp Smitty?
At Camp Smitty,
Where is
have you
that?
been there?
On Mink Lake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
There's always one in the crowd. But that's okay.
Yeah, so it's very affordable. It's $30 a day for everyone 7 to 14. Lunch is provided. You drop off, pick up, it's 8 AM to 6 PM. And the cap is 20 kids per day. So hopefully they will, and we do the registration and they run the camp. So hopefully that'll go well. So it's July 3rd to 7th, 10 to 12, July 17th to 21st, 24th to 26th, July 31st, August 4th, and August 7th to 9th, August 14th, 18th, and August 21st to 23rd. So that's pretty much all summer. So that should be good. The youth cooking workshops. So that's Connect Well. We're working with Sarah, and they're going to be offering free youth cooking workshops at the Eagles Nest. So they've got that from August 9th, 23rd, and 30th, from 9 to 3. So I think that would be
John may want to go to that,
yeah,
seeing that
sure,
as well.
Yeah.
sure.
Good idea.
So, and Dana's working, her other there, she's working away, spending time at the Public Works office to try and learn what's going on over there before Chris leaves us at the end of August. She's moved up her deadline date,
Time is up.
so.
Yeah.
We are working towards that, and, as you can see, we got funding for the fireworks, which is more than we got, I think, last year, so that's. I think it's more than we got last year, so I think that's.
I don't know, 2,500 we got last.
It might be the same, yeah.
2,100
Oh,
to
there you go.
24. So last year's-
Woohoo, $300 more.
Sometimes you only get like 1,000.
2 more firecrackers.
That's right.
So that'll be good.
Better than nothing.
So we've got funding for a tourism ambassador at the tourist information booth and also Canada Summer Jobs. So we've got 4 positions, so that'll be good. Pride Grant Senior of the Year, so we sent that in. And we've applied for a few other things that we haven't heard back from yet. So hopefully we'll get some more funding in for more of these programs. I know we just heard from Trillium today that we didn't get that. So we continue to try to get things like that. And I think we were looking at one of the capital grants, the federal capital grants is quite large. It might be that cultural spaces one that we're sort of looking at the retaining wall behind the museum. So.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's talk of plans, obviously, to do events around it, artisan events around it. I don't know if there's any issues with doing that outside with the wall. I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna come crumbling
No.
down.
I know we talked about it before.
It'd be red taped off and the building would be evacuated. so
We continue
it's solid.
to try and find funding though, because it's going to be a big.
You're such a
job.
glass half full kind of guy.
No, because I look at that retaining wall, and yeah, obviously anything could catastrophically fail, but I see other communities that have the old school stone
Mhm.
that's just blow parts together, that's still holding up walls that are bigger than this one, and they've been there 100 years.
Yeah.
So like the thing is, yes, it has little things to it, but it's,
The building too needs
More
some
reason.
upgrades.
Yeah.
We have a set of drawings as to how they're going to repair it.
Yes, we do.
And I would like Brent to look at it. I've got some concerns about it. You're in the construction, but
yeah, I'm not an engineer though, that one's an engineer.
well,
We should get Laurel looking
Like
at it.
that's the thing, like an engineer is gonna triumph any recommendation
some
I
of the-
do.
some of the things we're trying to do, I got questionable, but anyways, I'm not an engineer neither. I'm just saying, hey,
Is there local talent for that, or is that been explored?
No, we
What do
put
you mean
it
by
all
local
out
talent?
years ago.
Skills, sorry, to fix the like local.
Yeah, no.
No,
Yeah,
okay, to
Yeah.
fix the wall.
But we do have it designed by, like, as we were saying, we do have
Yeah.
it designed by our engineer. So when we are applying for grants, like, you've got all the stuff. we
Yeah.
need.
But Merv, I think it's a valuable point is like if we have them, there's maybe share them at the next council meeting to.
yeah, give you just a quick background on that. We got the first set of drawings we got from the engineer was yellow on white. You couldn't read it.
Mm.
So fortunately, I got a grandson that's an engineer and gave Carol a call. He says, send it to me, and it came back very quickly, black and white.
And
You can read it now.
And now which pending grant did we get rejected on?
Trillium.
Oh, it was a Trillium, okay.
So yeah, I can't share them publicly because it's a third-party document, but if council wants to see it, that's fine. I can share. I can
Yeah, just
send
put it in
it.
a close, I'd be curious, I don't think I've ever actually seen them.
Yeah, I don't know if it needs to go in a closed session, there's no
No.
discussion, but I can
No.
share them. for
Oh, okay,
information
yeah, that's
purposes.
fine, I just prefer for information.
Yeah, I can send it.
I'm more curious just what it looks like, because like, obviously that incorporate, there's a lot of the hill there,
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but I can just share.
just
it.
for aesthetics,
Yeah,
looking,
okay.
right? Thanks, Annette.
Um, So the tenders, I think you've seen that, we only received the one for winter sand and received 3 for gravel, and Jason is recommending the lowest for gravel.
Is that gravel pit run or is it quarry?
I think it's quarry. It's for our roads and it's for our stockpile. Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
not. pit
well,
run.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
problems with quarry gravel, but anyway.
No, I don't think it is quarry gravel. Sorry. Did I say quarry?
I said, yeah, I said, is it quarry or pit run?
And what did I say? Did I
You
say
said
quarry?
quarry, yeah.
Sorry, no, it is pit, it's like, to me, pit run is B gravel, not A gravel, but it's from a pit, not a quarry.
Yeah,
Yes, that
pit
is
run
correct.
or quarry, yeah.
Yes.
The quarry stuff is great for a base. but
It's granite, not limestone.
No, got it, okay, good. That's fine.
I'm gonna, once you're done with that, I'm just gonna take the opportunity to add to your admin report.
Okay.
Because I just got an update.
Okay, so just letting council know that sand is over budget, but gravel is under budget, and they almost balance out. There's a small difference of about $1,000, but I mean, it's a budget, so
And that's the budget, but, you know,
that
Surrounding area.
that happens, but yeah, but just so you're aware. Winter sand is over but gravel is under, so we kind of got lucky there. That one was over and one was under. And that's all I have, unless there's, and those resolutions will come to council tonight for approval unless there's any other questions.
Mr. Chair, since I didn't add this because I couldn't at the beginning of this meeting, I'm gonna put this under Annette's administration report.
yeah.
If you're all okay with me going off
Yeah.
the rails here. Everybody heard about the fatal shootings in Renfrew and Pembroke this weekend?
I heard in Renfrew, not Pembroke.
Okay, so at both. And I now can put it out there. The County of Renfrew and Renfrew County Housing Corporation are deeply saddened by the events of this past weekend. We consider the safety and well-being of our staff and our residents to be of the utmost importance, and we will be assessing the ongoing situation with our community and municipal partners, including the OPP and other first responders, the town of Renfrew and the city of Pembroke. The warden sends out his condolences. These two apparently isolated incidents have and will affect our community for some time to come. Along with our partners, we've already begun the task of supporting those individuals, families, and groups affected by the events, and will continue to do so. And as the investigation is ongoing, the County of Renfrew will not be making any further comment. But they were in our Renfrew County housing,
Was this in the Renfrew County housing that's
Yeah.
occurred in both places?
yes. So
But unrelated.
they believe unrelated. I don't know.
Yeah.
At this point. They were fatal shootings. I don't know if they have the caliber of gun or
Yeah.
anyway, I'm sure we'll hear more. From the County of Renfrew, but at this time, I just thought. If you're hearing it and you're being asked about it, that I literally just got this while we were talking.
There was a death as well due to fentanyl on the weekend in Golden Lake.
Yes,
My response is wait till the leader comes out.
I'm not sure that they'll have any more information than we will, but in any case, that's what I can share from the county, and that's all I've got.
But it
Thank
gives
you.
us the chance to say, because it involved county property, we're waiting for the results of the investigation
Yes,
rather than talk.
and I mean, if it was private property, it's still tragic. But the fact that we are part of the County of Renfrew, I thought it was important for you to be aware of what had happened.
Thank you.
I just have one question for Annette. I know we talked about this previous meetings, the dog pound sign, is that coming down?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it is.
because I thought it was gonna come down like months ago.
I
could be
thought it
wrong.
was down.
No, I just was by there. just
Yeah.
Within a week and it's.
Oh,
gone.
then I drove down it.
It is coming down.
It's the scenery.
Yeah, no, we talked about it earlier in terms of like,
Yeah.
if somebody were to take an animal there,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But it's still.
Exactly.
And the other thing, and that's just from, we went by it, the indigenous display. Are you gonna anchor the chairs to the ground somehow, or like it's a beautiful display, but are we gonna find it all in the river?
I hope not.
With the vandalism that's going on?
I certainly hope not.
What do I hope not as well?
That is the display that that they wanted to make.
Yeah.
So I met with Sherry and Laura Lee.
Hopefully they leave it alone.
Yes, I hope so too. But yes, you're quite right. If there's issues with it, then we'll have to figure out how
How to
address
anchor it down.
Like everything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know we already discussed
Yeah.
the garden and all that, but the only thing I was gonna say with the benches, I know it's up to the group and stuff, but is there a way to blend them with the current benches that we're putting at Music in the Park and the Centennial, or is that an option that has been discussed with the?
The benches are being donated
Okay.
by a resident who wants to
Oh, okay.
make the benches.
And
for it.
that's
their
fine. I was just
contribution.
kind of,
Yeah.
want to make sure. I leave
So,
those.
But to your point, they're rustic.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not all shiny and.
No,
they're-
so
No, it's just a rendering. It's
Yeah,
sometimes better
yeah.
than what my rendering would have been. Mine would have been a stick man and here you go.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do good,
Yeah.
yeah, but no, I was gonna say, and then on the Bonisher Authors Festival, so then they just had one cancellation, so the one gentleman that was gonna.
Okay.
So
Oh.
he's actually presenting, I think, World War II setting out in Italy. So he got free trips paid and up in Sicily and stuff, talk about the Sicily stuff. So
Wow.
overall, we're hoping to reschedule next year with them and then,
Cook, yes.
yeah, with Tim Cook. And then, so July 3rd, we're working on a presenter for it and they probably already have it secured.
Oh, great.
So they're just working towards it because we do have an ongoing list of people
Yeah.
that are interested.
yeah.
It's just getting people to work around schedules.
Okay,
Obviously,
great.
it's last
And
minute.
are the tickets for the festival are on sale now?
Uh,
Check last.
They just have to reorder stuff.
I'll go talk to them.
But yeah, that was about it.
So we're ready to go on?
Yes. I
Any
think
comments
so.
from correspondence A? Being none, what about correspondence B?
Did we have anything from Jason about the Kaufeld request?
So he's fine with it. He and I both reviewed it just to make sure that it's not causing any other access issues for any other property. Every other property around there has a different access off a different road, so closing those portions of road allowance is not affecting anybody other than the Caulfield property. So unfortunately, when they asked the first time, they just wanted to do an agreement and use it.
Mhm.
And so this was a different ask, so I said, I gotta go back to council. So if council agrees in principle, then what we would have to do is we'd have to have a public meeting, send notice around and make sure that the other adjacent property owners who are adjacent to those road allowances are not interested in their 33 feet. And then if all of that goes well, then he can go ahead and survey it and we can process closing
Yeah.
and transferring.
I have a comment about correspondence B, sorry. And I
Okay.
know I'm on this a lot, is about the opioid crisis. And given that there was a man in North Algona who just died on the weekend. Right, this is from a family friend, who's family with this guy, and he did try to call 911, he was by himself, he passed away. I don't know what we can do as a municipality on this, other than raising awareness of opioid abuse and fentanyl with, are now scary, and the drugs that the kids could possibly be taking. I don't know what we can do from a municipal perspective, but it's not getting any better, it's getting worse in terms of coming into our own turf, right?
Absolutely.
So it's,
And the Minister of of Addiction and mental health is well aware. I believe our paramedic service also sent a letter through the previous warden to let them know that the increase from where we were pre-pandemic to where we were, I think it was about 6 months ago or 8 months ago, is it's unbelievable. The
It's
amount that they're
really scary,
responding to.
especially with teens. I don't know, the school should be involved, the health, but
Yep,
is there anything that, the public awareness campaigns, I don't know, that we can take a bite out of this?
So we've done the appropriate first step, which is to get the Narcan or
Yeah.
naloxone in the hands of our providers. But the next step is a tougher one because sort of like the friends
is.
of the victims are gonna have to have it in their purse and be willing to use
Grassroots
it.
thing.
Yeah, and that's a much bigger step than giving it to our firefighters.
It is, and
People like,
I
do you
guess
think that's where we're headed?
well, because you only have minutes, perhaps 4 minutes to save someone who's blue by
Yeah,
squirting naloxone in their nose. And the worst thing can happen is they're dying of something else and it doesn't do any good, but but you only have minutes, so the people who are most likely to be on the scene when someone's teenage son is not breathing, will be the people the kids at the party. Or maybe if he's lucky, when he stumbles in and turns blue in the living room, his parents, but
Yeah.
they're not as likely to have along, so.
So I think one of the issues right now is that this isn't kids taking fentanyl.
Not knowingly. The thing is, it's put in the drugs,
Right.
not knowingly.
So whatever
With anybody.
whatever they're using.
Yeah.
It has fentanyl cut into it, and I think
And that
that's,
could be weed, it could be
Yeah.
coke, it could be anything they're taking.
So the first principle of first aid is still the most important one. When someone is turning blue and stop breathing, you use CPR. Their heart won't have stopped at that point. So if you're just rescue breathing for them, you could save them until the providers get there. But that's again, a big task to get people interested in taking CPR. Lifeguards get it. Lots of young employees, lots of young people have it in the school system. So that's probably the next thing we can do.
Well, it's clearly a difficult thing. This is a global epidemic, right? So they haven't, globally, we haven't figured it out. I don't suspect we're gonna figure it out municipally, but the prevalence of it is getting more and more.
but I think that us recognizing, as John just said, and putting it in the hands of our firefighters.
Yeah,
So now you're talking OPP have it, paramedics have it, firefighters now have it. I think that we've done a first step, where a campaign would come from us. I don't know what that would look like, but, certainly, one of the things is that I'm now on Roma, and is there anybody on the Roma board that has done this in their own zones? So if you leave that with me, I will certainly look into it.
the thing is, as you said, response time from ambulance and fire service is likely over 4 minutes. I don't know what the response time is. So if you have 4
If
minutes,
someone's doing rescue breathing, that life will be saved, because they die from not breathing.
right?
But
But the thing is, like, if they're at a party,
So you hope that the other guy.
you hope
the
that
party's
someone's
a
gonna get there
lifeguard.
in 4 minutes, or someone knows CPR.
Exactly.
That's a lot, that's a big
So
risk, right?
you asked what we could do next. Maybe we could somehow encourage the Red Cross or the St. John's, those are the two providers of CPR courses. Maybe we could sponsor a course in the arena and say free admission to anybody under 18 or something like that.
I mean, I'd be happy to work on a campaign if someone else is interested.
I'll
Get
do
a
that
team of
with you.
people
So
to,
we provide learning opportunities for CPR, because that really is the next one.
well, it's multi-component communication, right? So the workshop, social media campaign, there's various things to even get in the schools. I don't know if the schools are talking about it. I mean, I know my kids don't come home and say, we're having a discussion on this
Yeah.
at school. I'm always talking to them about it.
I wonder if our paramedic service would do that.
Now we can put in a request. I know it's not the AEDs that we have around. Do
Mhm.
walk you through that too, though, if you really don't know what you're doing. I know that's at the hardest stop. It's, you're probably not even opening that if it's just not breathing, but maybe you are. But they will walk you, like, that device will tell you everything to do.
Yes, they're
Even
idiot
if
proof.
even if you have no idea, and we have quite a few of them around. We do, the pharmacy, I think you can get naloxone. You have to give them your health card. And tell them why you
Yeah,
want
you can
it.
get it for free.
But if you want to have some on you, you could go to the pharmacy and make that request.
I think information is key, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
parents, I suspect, don't really understand fentanyl, right? I think it's growing, obviously, the topic in popularity, but I wonder how many parents even understand this to
As a
begin with.
starting point,
Yeah,
could you ask Opiongo
yeah.
what they're doing? Let's start with our high school.
Yeah,
I think
go
that's-
back to go back to the basics is what I always say.
Yeah.
It's like where are all the teenagers, kids, families all.
Let's,
It's in the school, it's in the schools generally, right?
and let's bring this back
Yeah,
to
that's just one group, like there's the adult group, who's talking to them? Like, do they know?
not a lot.
Right,
But if could you check with Opiongo and bring it back as a
Yeah.
line item on our next agenda? Because I would be interested to know, using Opiongo as sort of a benchmark, what are they doing? Are we looking at a grade 7 and 8 program to warn them before they get to high school? I wouldn't think so, but I don't know
well,
that.
grade 8, they're 13, right? So what age do kids experiment with drugs? That's the question.
I don't know.
I'd say 12.
I'm a cops kid. I did.
Different from all,
11, 12?
whoever your peer group is, yeah, you do it when they do it.
Yeah, I'd say 11.
Monkey
12
see.
To start,
Yeah.
grade 7 would be a
You
good
certainly
age.
know about it when you're 12.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so let's start with Opyongo and then we can figure out where to go municipally.
So Tracy, I'd be happy to work with you on that.
Okay.
And I'd go and, I would need an excuse to go meet the new medical officer of health. And I'll say he should be sponsoring and we could have a fun day at. the
Oh, yeah,
arena.
we could put a whole
We could
program
talk
together
about
for this.
AED,
Yeah.
CPR,
Yeah.
all kinds of things like that.
But I think
I
this is
actually asked Jason to come to our council.
Perfect.
He's making the rounds.
Yeah.
So it might not be until after the summer. But he just hit the ground running, so.
I follow this issue in the US where it's parents, I can't remember the name of it, it's a Facebook support group, and oh my God, so many teenagers have
Terrible.
died not knowing that this crap is in the things they're taking.
I won't share with you, we had a meeting for the coroners of Ontario on exactly that, and it's even more depressing than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So there will be support for a local initiative. We can come up with a neat plan. We could even, like RCV TAC, maybe we could come up with a youth death prevention day and have it
Yeah.
farmed out to other people. If it's a
Yeah.
good idea, we
There's
should do it.
so many demographic groups that need to be touched on this.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up Dr. Morgenstern, because is there a role for our CDHU to lobby the provincial government for help dollars to fund a day that you just suggested of having whomever, paramedics, Red Cross, I don't care who it is, come and teach not only about naloxone and CPR, but also how to use the AEDs. Because we were taught at county council how to use them. They are literally idiot proof.
Are they?
Anybody can use an AED. And the beautiful thing is, much like naloxone, if you're not in DFib, they're not gonna do anything to you,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like, if you're an AFib, it's not gonna help you. If you're not in DFib, it's not gonna help you, but if you're in DFib, it is.
It just,
Did I get that right?
what you
Something
just
like
said.
Are you proud of me though?
I think I.
Are you?
But just what you just said, it's knowing, it's information, like
It is.
what support is available, many don't know, I wouldn't know, who can you go if
But
you have
I
questions? on
wouldn't,
this?
like, no, I'm full agreement for like
Yeah.
raising awareness, everything to do it to parents and schools. But the thing is, the question was raised on like, what can municipality do? Well, what you can do is write a letter to hold the actual people that enforce the laws accountable, to go after the gangbangers that are providing the
Well,
legal
that
drugs.
too, yeah.
Like that's realistically, someone's
One
gonna have
element,
to hold someone accountable.
They're not gonna read those letters.
Well, no, they aren't.
They haven't
And
gone
they're-
anywhere with it.
Well, just look at where all the drugs come from. So like that's the thing, so it's like anything. unless
Larger
people-
communities can't deal with it, so,
Yeah, no,
to your
and-
point, you
and
still gotta
that's-
do the
But
steps,
that's-
right?
But when we're talking about the
Yeah.
basics of our council, and
Yeah.
I think that what we're going towards as our council's been progressing is that creating a vibrant community again, post-pandemic and everything. And that's, I think, long term, if we have that sustainability, volunteers are coming back, more people in the community, that's gonna, on top of doing your awareness campaigns.
Yeah.
And providing options for kids to go play volleyball, Legion
Yes.
Field, other opportunities that haven't been
Something.
around.
Yes,
Well, yeah, something, or be it like a positive experience,
yeah,
rather than just negative, right?
It's all about making Bonster Valley welcoming to youth or to young people who are at risk.
Well, to everyone,
Every
families,
safe, in a safe space. Yeah,
I just added
Okay.
this one because I think it's something we should keep on as discussion
And
going forward.
it sounds
Yeah.
to me like we're all on board.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
definitely.
something, but I think Opyongos are starting, because I would love to know what they are not teaching at a high school level, especially things like CPR. And they've got to have an AED or two.
Or to know that CPR would help. That's what I'm saying, like
Oh.
there's so much information, it's a puzzle with the information on this, right? So it's breaking it down for the community to understand it.
But I'm glad I kept them there.
no, I just like burning hot in here. Yeah.
No, it's
Ah,
really hot.
I'm used to it by now.
It is hot. Okay, that's my rant.
Yeah.
Sorry, just can we go back to Coffin, Mr. Chair? I just want to make sure I got the thumbs up.
Yes.
Because I don't think I didn't hear any concerns, but I didn't hear a, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, okay,
Now
all
I'm
right, sorry about that.
confused.
No problem.
Just confirmation for the one.
All right.
Okay, library board update.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry,
No,
can we just deal with the fire? The county wanted an answer on that fire radio.
Yes.
So are we in, they wanna know? And if we are we paying the whole thing up front over 5 years, monthly amount?
100
quarterly
years?
Payments?
I don't know, but I'm still here.
Yell at her.
Shut up.
So our options are to pay it up front right now.
In 2024, so nothing right now, but $21,184 in 2024.
Yep.
Paid over 5 years, beginning in 2024, so $4,236.97 per year. Or pay it over 5 years monthly, $353 per month, or quarterly at $14,1232 per quarter.
which,
But at the end, all the numbers are the same. or
All
is
the
there
numbers
interest?
are- the end
So then
was
just-
something
How are we paying?
20,000.
Just,
which is most convenient to your staff?
Well, I
You
would,
want me run around writing checks
Yeah.
a month, or just pay it off and be done with it?
well, I wouldn't mind doing the 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years, Sandra's not. now.
yeah, 5
Okay.
year for
Okay.
sure.
That's what I.
So that's what we're doing.
0%, perfect.
Yeah.
Option
Okay.
2.
And before we move out of correspondence, did everybody read the Prince Edward County Provincial Policy Statement? I would suggest that we also do a resolution. However, knowing what's coming down the pipe with the places to grow and the PPS being blended, we're gonna have to do something about the PPS anyway. So I think we just leave it, but keep it in the back of your mind.
Just put in correspondence C if you'd like.
Oh, it doesn't matter. But
And
that
then
was
can
just-
you please put in correspondence C for the next meeting, please?
No, don't. It's way far off.
Perfect.
Way far off.
Maybe D.
We never have anything in C, so just try to be all
We just
inclusive.
want something in C.
Yeah,
2024.
Yeah,
perfect.
So we're happy now?
yeah.
Sorry, yes, thank you.
Library board?
Yep, the library board met pretty much, so the ongoing, so weekly, for the board night, for the Dungeons and Dragons Club, to get about 8 to 9 or 8 to 10 individuals every week, so very great turnout and stuff, and it's consistent, which is all you want. Youth night has seen very high turnout, which is always amazing. Just wanted to pull the numbers for the one, I know you were at it, John, but the afternoon tea party on Sunday, April 30th, it was a really good success. They had 91 adults that came out
It was a good event.
they had 12 children attend, and if you haven't
Nice.
seen the photos and stuff, it was fantastic,
Yeah.
and they're gonna do it again next year, and I think it's gonna get more and more competitive and more intense and stuff, because there's a really great environment. It also was it actually raised $1,600 for the library as well, which wasn't intended. The whole intention of that program was to lead to a play later in this year, and is also just a community event. The intention was to raise money, and fortunately they did, which is great. Besides that, they're just working on their summer program. They did receive one summer student. So obviously, when that schedule comes out, I'll share with everyone. But I know everything's very positive moving forward. Authors Festival, they're just filling in the one Tim Cook wasn't able to make. He's in Sicily. So hopefully he comes back next year, which is a really good different draw in our area, because we're looking at different authors. So they will be replacing that, and flyers will be out. Besides that, everything's good. Perfect.
That's really nice about the tea.
The library is a shining beacon. Everything they do amazes me.
I think John had the best costume at the tea party.
Oh, God, what did he wear?
Mad Hatter.
Oh, really?
Mad Hatter. But I was gonna say that the gaming club at the library is very capably managed by Dungeon Master Nigel Epps.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. The sun.
No, but it's honestly amazing, the turnout of that group every single time these are board meetings end up on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So over the last several years, we've seen the turnout totally change, and like the D&D group, it's phenomenal. And it's all all ages of life. It's
from
amazing.
6
Oh, yeah.
to 6, yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
D&D was popular when I was a kid.
And I thought it was dead and gone, but obviously
I
not
did too.
on Sure Valley.
No,
Yeah.
in fact, now they blended D&D with LARPing. So now you've got live action role
Yes,
play.
role play.
It's actually grown.
With what? Sorry?
LARPing. Live,
or cosplay.
live action
You
role
dress
play.
up as fictional
I
heroes.
thought that was just for adults.
You know we're on YouTube, right?
Just to clarify, I'm not chairing this meeting.
I've not heard that
Hold on.
acronym.
Yeah.
Moving on.
We've discussed winter sand, we've discussed gravel,
Yeah,
nothing else, motion to conclude.
That's
sure.
perfect.
All right, so we have a public meeting at 5:25. But everybody can zoom in if they want. Let's get out of this.
Yeah, check
thinking
there,
hot room.
shoreline. law.
Yeah. We gotta get out of this room.
I will send the two